You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Overreaction Monday. Although in some cases, I don't know if we can react enough. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. First off, how was your weekend?
You know what? It was a good weekend. We got to do the wife and I got to do something we don't normally do. That's go out without the daughter. The daughter had a sleepover. So Saturday night, the wife and I went out, had a little dinner, watched a little music, had a cocktail or two, had a nice night. It was fun for a change.
Awesome.
Not fun for a change. It's always fun. It was different for a change.
Right.
Maybe a better way of putting it.
Look at that. You're just a couple there for 12, 18 hours.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that is right.
Listen, we don't normally start off this way because, we air in 5, 6 different places. So the weather, this is one of those fascinating weather mornings. First off, I'm in Green Bay getting ready for Monday Night Football. It's 22 degrees.
It is?
Yes, it is.
22, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's 22. High today. Might get above freezing. A little bit. Around kickoff, freezing and heading quickly below.
That sounds cold.
I thought the folks in Huntsville in Florida would appreciate that. Yeah, 22.
So while I was out, the place I was at had a plethora of TVs. And I was paying kind of attention to the end of some games, in the nighttime window, if you will.
Uh-huh.
And I noticed in South Bend, it was snowing.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And I went, what's that?
Uh-huh.
Because it's hot here. Now, it's going to get cold tomorrow, and we're going to have some very low temperatures tomorrow morning.
Now, you're talking about the 239 because, let me tell you, there are parts of Florida right now where it's already chilly.
No. It's warm, if not hot here. Like, hot.
No, I know. Right now, you're in the mid-70s.
Right.
Right, yes. By the way, in Jacksonville, you're in the upper 40s.
Again, I don't live there.
Right. No, I'm aware. I just wanted to point out. And Tampa's kind of right in the middle. Tampa's low 60s right now. So, yeah, it's coming.
That's what I hear.
Coming.
That's what I hear. I will, at the request of many people in the chat room, issue a sock and shoe advisory for tomorrow.
Right. Happy Veterans Day. Put your pants on. Pants. You may have to go find them. They're called pants. Right. Mm-hmm. But yes, I was in Iowa City, and Mark, it's funny. Lovely day on Friday. Travel issues. I didn't get in till Friday night, 9 o'clock. So I didn't get to enjoy what apparently was upper 60s. Beautiful day. Saturday, not so much. 42, windy, rainy, and fourth quarter, it looked like it was snow that was trying to land but didn't make it as snow to the playing surface. That's how cold it was. And then yesterday, sunny and a lovely drive from Iowa City to Chicago. When we got to Chicago for lunch, it was snowing.
I noticed during yesterday's game that there was snow flying.
Yes, it wasn't sticking.
No.
But it was a good visual. Right. It was a good visual.
We love our football in snow. I must say, in watching your game Saturday, and for those that don't know, David was working the Iowa-Oregon game. I felt incredibly sorry for the cheerleaders. The fans chose to go.
Right.
The players are now getting paid.
Handsomely, yes.
I don't feel sorry for any of them.
Right.
But CBS and all networks try to do their best to capture the moment. And
Sure.
there is no better way than really capturing the moment than getting the shots of the cheerleaders. And they are in rain slickers, and they looked miserable.
Right.
But cheerleaders by law are not allowed to look miserable. They have to smile and wave the pom-poms when the cameras come on them. And I was just looking at those poor girls going, oh, you've got to be freezing. That just looks, there's nothing about that says rah-rah to me.
Right. There's two groups of people during the game that cannot look miserable: cheerleaders and sideline reporters. Yeah. And Jenny Dell was standing out in that stuff 4 hours before kickoff, filing reports for CBS Sports Network, CBS HQ. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. 2 hours after the game, she was having a burger in the hotel restaurant, and I grabbed her hands and I said, can I just, and she was still ice cold.
If you can see, you know what, one of these weeks I'd like to get one of those ladies on. I would, because I think their story on a day like that, people would want to hear, or maybe wouldn't want to hear, but would have a whole nother appreciation for the job they do after hearing what they do in a day.
Done.
Because I think by and large people bash the sideline reporter. I think those that watch mock the sideline reporter. And there are times in which the sideline reporter's questions are terrible, or the coach attacks the sideline reporter, whatever the case may be, but they're working. And it would be interesting on a day like she had on Saturday,
right,
to let her have her due, so to speak, to say, damn it, I'm working.
Done.
I'm working hard.
I mean, she's a mom with 2 kids, but I'll talk to her and see what she's doing Monday, and we'll bring her on.
Nice for you to have the game of the day, by the way. After having the game of the day for the better part of 18 years, 19 years.
Right.
You haven't had the game of the day much in the last 2, David.
No.
I think you were spoiled rotten. There's no two
rotten.
And you don't realize it probably in the moment how good you had it with the games you were doing. I think to a certain degree you did, but it takes 2 years in the Big Ten to really realize what you had in the SEC.
Yeah.
Atmosphere, weather, the importance of the game, but it had to be fun for you, Gary, Brad, and your entire crew to have a game that most of the college football world was going, I want to watch that game.
Well, also, Mark, let's be honest. Who enjoys an 18-16 last-second field goal game more than your co-host?
Not a person on this planet.
I mean, maybe Kirk Ferentz. That's about it. I mean, it was right up my alley. Loved every second of it from the beginning. I mean, come on, first score of the game's a safety. You know, as Brad Nessler said, I think it was end of the first quarter, late first quarter, we have a pitcher stool going 2-0. I'm like, here we go. My kind of game. This is why I traveled here. Absolutely. Wasn't going to miss this.
So a lot of, a rough day, so to speak, for the Big Ten on Saturday. Because with Iowa losing, they're out.
They are.
With Washington losing, they are for sure out.
Yes.
And now USC will have to run the table for the Big Ten to have a shot at 3. To 4, rather. 4, I'm sorry.
Right.
So the Big Ten can get 3, but they need USC if they want to get 4.
Well, and what's interesting for USC to run the table, they have to beat Iowa at home this week, and then they have to go to Oregon. And then, don't laugh, it's a rivalry game, and it's happened before. They then have to beat UCLA.
And obviously, if Michigan runs the table, they have a shot. I wonder about them beating Ohio State, but I wondered about it the last couple of years, and somehow, some way, they've been able to do it. But the ACC told the Big Ten to hold my beer.
Boy.
As they just took a big, large, you-know-what on Saturday.
Jacksonville Jaguars in the fourth quarter, ACC on Saturday.
Jags. Jags. I wasn't even going to get till Sunday, till next segment, but you want to
Okay.
go there? I'll go there right now. That is as embarrassing of a loss as you can have. They gave up 20 unanswered in the fourth quarter. They had that game completely in control. They were looking like a playoff team. But Davis Mills, yes, Davis Mills said, I'll take it from here. I'll take care of it. I'll run you out of town, Jags. And Trevor and company had no answer for the fourth quarter Houston Texans as they took the Jags season and basically ended it for them.
If anybody cares, his name is Dan Hicken, Hicken, and he does sports for Action Sports Jacks, which is the app that we are on in Jacksonville. He and Brent Martineau, whose show airs after ours on Action Sports Jacks. Dan Hicken, because Brent's at the game. He travels with the Jags. Dan is back in the studio doing hosting duties. Dan Hicken does a 5.5-minute takedown of the Jags that is worth your time. And he just walks off the screen at the end of it. And I don't know whether the people in the studio were scared or were holding their laughter. But we came up with a new SOSAJ. I had never heard that before. Had you? SOSAJ. Okay, I had never heard it before. Dan Hicken educated me to that last night. Same old sorry ass Jags.
Got that right. You got that right.
I had never heard of that before, and I'm like, I'll be damned. And he said it right on the air.
As well he should. As well he should. That is inexcusable. You're playing against a backup quarterback. You have built a 29-10 lead through 3 quarters. All you have to do is get the horse into the barn somehow, some way, and you couldn't do it. And the way the game ended was perfect for how they performed in the fourth quarter. It really was. Might as well end it with a turnover, run back for a score. What an embarrassment by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Miller and Moulton. We'll get into Sunday next. Thanks for listening. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Takori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
We had 7 different games. We've split 3-3 so far in the NFL.
And you got to be furious because one of them is you lost on the Jags.
Well, and Indianapolis went to overtime. They let them come back.
They did let them. They did pull a Denny Green, and they let him off the hook. This just in, by the way, Michael Penix isn't that good either.
No, he's not.
Oh, wow. And ladies and gentlemen, for a very entertaining game, that's the Daniel Jones who was in New York. Their turnover machine. Put the ball on the ground 3 times, threw an interception, could have thrown 2 more.
I had you at 4 and 5.
Yes. Which we'll have a lot of fun with. Because my 2 gut plays, I went 2-0. And when I took the teams that were the best against the spread in the country so far this year, I went 1-3. Fresh smoked meats in your room in Wisconsin. Fresh smoked meats. Tell me I couldn't live here.
And Lee went 2 and 3. I went 2 and 3. Because the Bears won by 4.
And not 5. But, I mean, come on. The fact that that was nearly a cover was... Yeah, Adam, you did have a hell of a weekend. You did. By the way, I don't think we have to worry about whether or not Lane or Eli or anybody else wants DJ Lagway. I think we can move on, can't we? Wow. What a year he's had. Whew. Boy, did Billy Napier and the Gators help to ruin him, and he took it from there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on this Overreaction Monday, and there are quite a few subjects in which you cannot overreact to. Wow. Mark, you were saying about the ACC again? Woo-wee.
Well, I thought Virginia's loss was coming a couple of weeks ago when they headed out west to Cal, and they managed to win that. But Virginia's been playing with their food all year long. They are not a good football team, but they've been winning, and you have to give a team credit for winning.
Right?
That ended.
Yes.
Wake Forest controlled them. Virginia never got going offensively, and, well, they're done. Louisville.
Wow. Wow. Where did this come from? You're good enough to go to Miami and look like the better team when they have top 10 at the least personnel, and you get thoroughly outplayed and then out-onioned on the final play of the game and lose to Cal?
By the way, we're just getting started, ACC, because Duke, which has had a nice little season,
Yep.
managed to lose to UConn. Duke,
Yep.
still with a really good shot to play for the ACC title, now has a loss to UConn on their schedule.
Correct.
And if anybody wondered if the ACC was getting more than one team, all questions were answered over the weekend.
Yeah, I guess there's only one scenario. One.
Georgia Tech run the table, lose the ACC championship.
Yep, because that would involve beating Georgia. And it would be 11-1, with one of the 11 being Georgia on a, quote, neutral field, although it'll feel more like a road game for Georgia Tech because dog fans are going to pack Mercedes-Benz. And the Chick-fil-A stands will be open, so everybody will be in a good mood. That's it, man. That's one bid league unless...
Well, and the Big 12 very well may be a one-bid league because Texas Tech handled BYU. I get it. BYU could end up playing them again in the championship game and winning, and both could get in. But right now, Texas Tech has now played the best two teams in that conference, Utah and BYU, and beat them. I mean, just flat out beat them. Physically beat them. Texas Tech, look, I hate the eyeball test, but from a look standpoint, I will be interested to see whomever Texas Tech gets in the playoff because physically they have stood up to two teams that we've always found to be good physical football teams in BYU and Utah, David. Like, you think, don't you believe if Texas Tech plays damn near anybody that they're going to get in the playoff, that physically they're going to be able to match up with them?
Yes. I don't know if their quarterback and skilled players will be good enough, but Mark, just the game within the game. So Texas Tech beats BYU 29-7. Did you see the stat? How many plays were run on the opponent's side of the field in that game? 43 plays for Texas Tech on BYU side of the field. 9 for BYU on Texas Tech side of the field. Talk about a game in which 29-7 was not an accurate reflection of what took place.
What was also not a reflection, well, what was a reflection of what took place was, I mentioned earlier, Washington ruined their opportunity to sneak in as a 2-loss Big Ten team because they lost to Wisconsin.
Yes,
Wisconsin had 48 yards of passing for the game.
Did you
Wisconsin
see?
only had 205 total yards for the game.
And Wisconsin came from behind to win that game when Wisconsin's 3 quarterbacks and a trick play. And by the way, the trick play worked. It was a completion for 24 yards, their biggest pass play of the day, thrown by a wide receiver, I believe. Okay, Wisconsin's quarterbacks went 6 for 18 for 48 yards. Take out the trick play, they were 5 for 17 for 24 yards, and they won.
But let's bring it back to the state of Florida where the majority of our affiliates are, because...
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do. As a matter of fact, we do.
Woo-wee.
The Gators went and got humiliated against Kentucky. They had a really nice effort against Georgia. They did. You know, a catch that a play that may have been a catch that was not called a catch would have been the difference, and they may have pulled the big upset. But after a week of trying hard, There was not much effort there, and they were pounded by Kentucky.
38-7. 38-7. By the way, I don't think we need to worry about whether or not Lane, Eli, whoever the heck the next coach is going to be, and whether or not he wants DJ Lagway or DJ Lagway wants him. Man, oh man, how did DJ Lagway suddenly suck?
I don't think there's any suddenly about it. When's he been? It's not like he was good a month ago, David. He's been bad all year. I have had people emailing me and texting me for a month and a half saying, when are we going to let the backup play? This guy's not any good. And you know what? To Javier and all the textures that have been sending it, I've got nothing for you other than you might as well let him play now.
No, you were right. No, we held off for as long as we could. Nope, you were right. You saw it a month or so before us. Nope, if he wants to enter the portal, I don't know where the portal's home is. I don't know if it's a rest stop on the side of I-75. All right, I don't know where it is, but they can drive them to it. Here you go.
Hopefully that NIL money's only year to year with DJ, because if, this is like the baseball player that's going into an option year, David. If I'm DJ and I know I'm getting the money, why would I go anywhere? Because no one's going to give me that kind of money anywhere else.
Whoo-wee. Man, and nice heart, Gators. So you played hard once against one rival? Man. And I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a game, what network do you put the Florida State game on now?
The CW.
I mean, oh, damn. I thought the best line I heard, can you fire an interim head coach after 2 games? Now, I thought that was funny.
Players asking to be redshirted so that they can transfer out and it being granted. There's a lot not to like in Gainesville. There's about the equal amount of things not to like in Tallahassee, as Clemson pounded the Noles on Saturday evening. And, we had Jeff Cameron on a few weeks ago that wanted the coach fired then. He was right. You're going to do it at the end of the year. That's fine.
By the way, great stat since the beginning of last season, number of ACC wins, Connecticut 3, Florida State 2.
Ouch. We already mentioned the Jags and what they did. The Bucks, with their injuries, they played hard, but they lost to the Patriots. And while that happened, the Miami Dolphins took it to the Bills, ending a 7-game losing streak against Buffalo and giving the Pats a substantial lead in the AFC East.
We're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins screwing up the draft.
We're the 3-7 Dolphins. 3-7 Dolphins. And Tua still threw 2 picks.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it
Mark
real.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, DC, it's not close. I have a question. What number are we going with in the Colts-Falcons game? Because the line opened at 6.5. I saw at some places it closed at 5.5.
Why?
Just curious. I figure out, each week how underdogs did against the spread and what have you. So I don't know if that's an underdog cover or if that's an underdog bad beat.
5.5 was the closing odds.
Okay. I think that should take out a bad beat. How about the lighting in this room, huh? My goodness. Got overhead lighting throughout the whole room. Fresh meats. Can't go wrong with that. Yeah. Sounds about right. DC? That sounds about right. When the Steelers got stopped on the 10-yard line in the fourth quarter, I was like, I think I can go to bed.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. By the way, the 22 minutes to the top of the hour, that's 1 minute for every degree above zero it is here in Green Bay. That's right, it's 22. Ha! It's in the upper 40s in Jacksonville. It's in the 70s in Fort Myers. This weather update brought to you by Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. No, actually, they're the sponsors of
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Brought to you by BST, Lee County, getting it done with business, sports, and tourism. By the way, Gary Danielson in an hour. We got a lot to get to. NFL. I don't know if you heard, but the Jags led the Texans by 19 with 12 minutes to go and lost 36-29. Texans Davis Mills was 5-19-1 as a starting quarterback in the league. Now he's 6-19-1, and 3 of the 6 wins are against the Jags. Crushing loss for the Jags, drops them to 5-4, is likely going to cost them at the end of the year in terms of the standings in the playoffs. How about the Patriots? 3 big plays, 72-yard pass play, and my guy, Trevion Henderson, finally, they made him the back. Finally, 55-yard touchdown run, 69-yard touchdown run, offset Baker Mayfield's 3 touchdown passes. How about the Patriots? 7 in a row. They started it by going to Buffalo. They have finished it by going to Tampa. Huh? The 8-2 Patriots, 28-23 over the Bucs, and the Dolphins did Mike Vrabel a solid. Not only did they beat the Bills, but that's a division loss. So even if Buffalo goes to Foxborough next month and gets the split against the Patriots, the Patriots would win the division because of their division record. What happened to the Bills? What happened to the Dolphins? 30-13 Miami over Buffalo, snapping the 7-game skid against the Bills. How about the Dolphins running for $194, 174 from Achane, and 2 touchdowns? Man, oh man. Can you bet a Dolphins game for the rest of the year? Does anybody know which team's going to show up at all? This team got humiliated in Cleveland, right? Just want to make sure. And got spanked by Baltimore at home. I digress. Remember Denny Green's tantrum? We know who they are and we let them off the hook. Yeah, that was the Falcons in Berlin yesterday. They had the Colts beat. But Michael Penix and the offense did not convert 1 third down throughout the entire game. They could not put the Colts away, who were desperately trying to give the game away. And Atlanta just wouldn't take it. Indy drove down, kicked, and really they didn't drive much. They had a big kickoff return beyond midfield, got it in field goal range, kicked the tying field goal, and then in overtime won it. Jonathan Taylor, 244 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. Colts are 8-2. You can put a fork in the 3-6 Falcons. And Raheem Morris, rent, don't buy. How in the world did Carolina lose at home to the Saints the week after they went to Lambeau and beat the Packers? What is going on here? 17-7 New Orleans. Tyler Shuck with 2 touchdown passes. This wasn't a fluke. Did you see what total yards in the game was? 388 to 175. Unbelievable. Panthers fall to 5-5. Bucks with a 2-game lead in the loss column in the division. Jets get a kickoff return for a touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown and beat the Browns despite 169 total yards of offense. 27-20, Jets, who won one for the late Nick Mangold. They honored him before the game. His family were the honorary captains for the coin toss. Giants had a 10-point lead with 5 minutes to go in Chicago. Bears won 24-20. First double-digit fourth-quarter comeback win for the Bears in 13 years. They're 6-3 for the first time in 4 years that they're 3 games above 500. Giants fall to 2-8. President Trump was at the game, the first sitting president to attend a regular season NFL game since Jimmy Carter in 78. Hello. He watched the Lions destroy the Commanders 44-22. Goff and Gibbs with 3 touchdowns each. The Commanders have lost 5 in a row. And I don't know how many wins they're going to have the rest of the year either. Look at the schedule and look at the team.
Trump did the entire third quarter basically in the booth.
With Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma?
Yeah.
Must have been because I was told he was in the booth for like over 8 minutes.
He was in the booth. And I'm laughing because I'm watching the game. And they kind of run out of things to ask him. They're kind of done.
Well, his answers are short.
Well, not just, but, and then he had a little conversation with Vilma, and he was able to talk, a little Brady because they have, mutual friends there. But I just was laughing because Kenny Albert was spitting out some stats here and there. He didn't have a lot of questions. So Trump then did a little color analyst. Then he did a little play-by-play. And there was a bit of I don't remember, it was an injury or what happened, but the Commanders call a timeout. Well, normally you'd go to break. Can't go to break with the president in the booth. No. You're not kicking. No. We're staying with this guy.
I was going to say, because if you go to break, he gone. He ain't sitting through the break. So we're staying here. Ravens beat the Vikings for the 3rd win in a row, 27-19. Both teams are 4-5. The Vikings had 8 false start penalties at home. That hadn't happened in a game in a very long time. They also had 3 turnovers. Rams scored the first 3 times they had the ball. They led 21-0. Stafford with 4 TD passes. If you're paying attention, that's 13 TD passes in his last 3 games. 42-26 Rams over the Niners, their 4th straight win. Can you believe we had 2 games that were 44-22 yesterday? Seattle beat Arizona by the same score that the Lions beat the Commanders. Seattle had 35-0 late first half to improve to 7-2. DeMarcus Lawrence with not 1 but 2 defensive touchdowns. And the Chargers may be banged up, but they still manhandled the Steelers for their 3rd straight win, 25-10. LA 7-3. Pittsburgh's lead is down to a game in the North at 5-4. Packers 1.5-point favorite tonight at home across the street at Lambeau against the Eagles. Remember, the Packers were the ones that submitted to have the tush push eliminated I'm telling you, Nick Sirianni's going to do something early in this game to shove it to Green Bay. 8:15, ABC, ESPN. Former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue died yesterday at the age of 84. Giants quarterback Jackson Dart suffered a concussion. He suffered one in college as well. This bears watching. Baseball, those two Cleveland Guardians pitchers, Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, both indicted on a host of charges, all stemming from an alleged scheme to rig bets on pitches thrown in baseball games. Ortiz, through his attorney, denied everything. Reportedly, Clase and Ortiz would intentionally throw balls on first pitch of at-bats that bettors won nearly $500,000 on. For the record, Clase's made $12 million over the last 7 years and was scheduled to make over $6 million next year. Morons. Basketball. The Orlando Magic fall to 4-6. They lost at home to Boston, 111-107. Knicks' fourth straight win. They beat Brooklyn by 36. OKC's 10-1. They beat Memphis by 14. Ja Morant, 11 points, 8 assists in 34 minutes. He does not want to be there. Houston got 31 from KD in a 122-115 win over Milwaukee. Your Pistons, Mark, have won 6 straight. They're 8-2. They beat the Sixers 111-108.
Best team in the East right now, David.
Take it easy, big fella, but I hear you.
Take it easy. I just giving you a fact. Nothing I said there that was untrue. I didn't say they're going to be the 1 seed. I didn't say they're going to win the NBA title. I merely said they're number 1 in the East.
You said best team in the East.
Right now they are.
Best
Who's
record.
got a better record?
In the
Who's
East.
got a better record in the East? Your Knicks? No.
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 It's your Pistons.
It would be the 1 seed if the season ended today.
Listen, Indiana's got a whole bunch of injuries. Never mind the injury that happened in Halliburton in Game 7 of the Finals. The Pacers are 1-9. Has a team ever been in the NBA Finals 1 year and started the next year 1-9? Golden State didn't have Steph last night, and they beat them by 31. Hall of Fame player and coach Lenny Wilkens died yesterday at the age of 88. And former Orlando Magic head coach and longtime Magic radio analyst Richie Adebayo died over the weekend at 87. Mel Bridgman, former Flyers captain and number 1 overall pick of the draft, died over the weekend at the age of 70. Hockey last night, Bedard with a goal and 2 assists for the red-hot Blackhawks. They beat Detroit 5-1. Kings with 2 in the third, beat the Penguins 3-2. Carolina down 4-2, came back to beat Toronto 5-4. Ottawa 4-2 over Utah. Minnesota shut out Calgary 2-0. Dallas 2-1 over Seattle. Anaheim won their 7th straight 4-1 over Winnipeg. But Mark, the story of the night in the NHL, Gavin Brindley, friend of the show. You know his dad very well. A product of Southwest Florida. The overtime game winner for the Avs in a 5-4 win over Vancouver. Good for him. Good for the family. The AP poll came out yesterday. I know it doesn't matter with the college football playoff rankings, but considering the rankings follow the AP poll so closely, Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss. So 4 SEC teams in a row there, 3 through 6. Oregon goes to Iowa, beats the top 20 team, and drops a spot in the rankings because Ole Miss beat the Citadel. There's no SEC bias, though, in the polls. There isn't. Just relax, SEC fan. There's no bias. Notre Dame's up to 9th. Texas is in the top 10. Miami's up to 16. James Madison, the group of 6 team with the highest ranking at 24. South Florida's at 25. For the record, highest ranked Big 12 teams, Texas Tech at 8. Highest ranked ACC team is Georgia Tech at 14. Playoff rankings come out tomorrow. UCLA, by the way, going to break their lease. They're going to pay between $60 and $80 million to get out of their Rose Bowl lease and to play their home games at SoFi. Pasadena is about 25 miles away from campus. SoFi is about 12. Never mind less seating capacity and 4 times as many suites. DP World Tour, Tommy Fleetwood lost in a playoff to Adam Ray of England. Rory finished a shot out of the playoff. He's got a commanding lead to win his 7th Race to Dubai European, Player of the Year championship, if you will. Ben Griffin on the PGA Tour shot a final round 63 to win in Cabo San Lucas by 2, his 3rd win of the year. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories and no more Rose Bowl here on Miller and Moulton.
That is fascinating that Oregon goes from 6 to 7, winning on the road at what's considered one of the tougher places to win at on the road.
And Iowa was ranked 20th in the country when the game was played. Right. And Ole Miss beat the Citadel handily, which is a shock, and Ole Miss jumps Oregon in the standings.
But Iowa now out of the top 25.
Completely, because they lost to the 6th-ranked team in the country on the last play of the game. Right. Nothing to see here. Nope.
Tennessee was idle, and they moved up 2 spots in the poll.
Well, Notre Dame beat 1-7 Boston College by 2 scores last week and moved up 2 spots. I hate them all. Honestly, I hate the pollsters so much. I think I like the computer more than the pollsters. I can't believe I just said that out loud.
Me either. Gary Danielson coming up next hour. We'll see what he thinks about the polls. Well, maybe not. Miller and Moulton. We'll come up with a poll question on the other side. Thanks so much for listening.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not 1 but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance for tickets. Go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Puck, I think you're completely wrong. You're acting like Iowa's a terrible team. Iowa played Indiana really tough. Iowa played Oregon really tough. The fact that they dropped out of the rankings losing that game, to me, is an embarrassment to the people who do the rankings. Tennessee moves up 2 spots despite not playing. Iowa drops out of the rankings, losing a last place score to Oregon. Come on.
They lost to Indiana by 5 and Oregon by 2.
And they lost to Iowa State. They did. Yep. Iowa State's not looked as good as we thought they were going to be. And yes, Penn State let the Big Ten down. They did.
It's funny, though, when an SEC team, the equivalent of Penn State, plays Indiana that tough, the SEC gets to say, see, this is how tough our conference is. But when Penn State plays Iowa like Indiana like that Saturday, the narrative is, see, that's how weak the Big Ten is. Listen, the SEC is the best conference. It is. It's far and away the deepest. It's the best conference.
But
I don't.
But
we
it's
don't have
not.
to go more than that.
It's not this canyon between they and the Big Ten. I'm sorry. LSU has let everybody down. Florida has let everybody down. Missouri's not good right now. Yeah, it's the best conference, but we just sit there and get on our knees and say how great they are. Enough.
Whew. I'm sorry, I'm working on some travel plans here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Overreaction Monday. Thanks for being with us. I'm in Titletown, where it's 22 degrees at 6 a.m. The Christmas lights are out, Mark, shadowing the ice rink behind the hotel here, across the street's Lambeau Field. Fresh meats wrapped in the hotel room. Fresh meats for me. Is that not one of the 3 greatest gifts I've ever received?
I don't really, I guess. I mean, if it would have been cheeseburgers from a fast food place wrapped, a 12-pack of Diet Coke. I mean, there are other things I would have thought of for you. I think that's a little above your pay grade, but what the hell?
Thought you would get an appreciation of you, who is it Tuesday or Wednesday morning? You look for the specials?
The circulars. Yeah, the grocery store circulars. I love the grocery store circulars.
Right.
Yeah, I do.
I just thought you'd have an appreciation for freshly wrapped and packaged meats left for you in a hotel room. Goodness. That's to make up for the fact it's 22 degrees outside. Upper 40s in Jacksonville, 70s in Fort Myers. It's coming. It's coming. Mark, what have you issued already for tomorrow, Veterans Day?
A sock and shoe advisory, everyone. It may be a morning where you're going to have to put socks on. In fact, I believe it is a sock and shoe warning. I think it's past advisory, and you are warned not to leave your house in your flip-flops tomorrow morning, which will be tough for me because I hate shoes.
He has jumped right over the color yellow, which is an advisory, the color orange, which is a watch. He's gone straight to the flaming red at the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. And this is brought to you by khakis, because you're going to have to wear pants.
Yeah, it's going to be in the 40s when I leave for work tomorrow.
It's going to be freezing in Jacksonville at this time tomorrow. It's already in the upper 40s right now. It's a coming, folks. It's a coming.
It very much looks like we're going to have a 2-day winter down here. Don't worry. By Thursday, it'll be 78 again. By Friday, it'll be in the 80s.
But they're in a box somewhere. They're called pants. Either that or just stay inside. One or the other. Just, as Mark said, this too shall pass. But, okay. Is it possible for us to overreact to what happened in the Jags game? Is that possible or no?
I don't think so, David. I had my setup where I was watching the Bucks on my main TV.
Uh-huh.
I usually give the Jags a big TV, but I'm like, I didn't. And I went with Ravens Vikings on the other big TV. I thought that was the best game of the day, but I was most interested in Bucks Patriots. And then I had the multi-view down at the bottom. And all of a sudden, the damn Dolphins start doing what the Dolphins did yesterday. I'm like, well, I'll be damned. But I had the Jags on that TV, and I'm like, look at that. Look at the Jags taking care of business. Look at the Jags going out against a backup quarterback in a really important game on the road and acting like men.
Right. Doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
That's a wounded team with a backup quarterback, and you went and you took care of business, and bada bing, bada boom, get on the plane. You're 6-3, and you are, in fact, you would have moved up to the 6th seed. Yeah, you would have jumped ahead of Buffalo in the AFC playoff standings because of your conference record. Yeah.
And they gave up a touchdown at the end of the first half. It's 20-10. I'm like, I don't like that score by Houston. All right, let's see what the Jags got in the second half. They get a field goal right away. They get the ball back. They put a pretty nice drive together. They score a touchdown. They're up 29-10. Of course, they went for 2 there, but
why? Why? Why do you go for points that you don't need?
David, I don't like when teams chase points early, and I don't like when you're winning to start going for unnecessary points. And then they give up a touchdown. And then things start to unravel.
Yeah, 3 plays minus 4 yards, 3 and out. Boom, boom, boom. Clock kept running. They took a whopping 2:12 off the clock. Okay.
And then Houston comes down and scores again. They go for 2 and don't get it. By the way, because you went for 2, it would have allowed them with a field goal and a 2-point conversion to tie. But you stopped their 2-point conversion. And then you go 3 and out again. This time taking up a minute 13 and gaining a whopping 6 yards. And Houston marches right back down and scores and takes the lead.
You pin them at the 7. Okay, they've scored back-to-back touchdowns, but this is it. Okay, this is it. 1 play, 1 stop. That's it. 1 play on defense, and you'll win this game. 14 plays, 93 yards, touchdown.
David, I don't think you can put enough emphasis on what happened to them in the fourth quarter. Like, I get it. They're grown men. It's professional football. Sure. Anybody can come back. We just watched the Dolphins beat the Bills. So it's not to say that the Jags can't come back and win next week. They can. It's the NFL. I don't know what to tell you. But this was your moment. This puts you in a spot where you are firmly a playoff team. And you give up 3 scores in the final quarter.
Mark, fourth quarter yards, 180 to 1. 180 to 1. Yep. 9 plays, 1 yard. Took 4.5 minutes off the clock. A first down, you win the game. 1 stop on defense in 3 drives. 33 plays. Couldn't make 1. Now, I will say, man, they got to get roughing the passer straightened out in this league. It's embarrassing. Okay? These quarterbacks are big, strong. Okay, you give them all the time in the world to shake free of sacks. So now what do defensive players do? Now they have to tackle you but not fall on you. They have to tackle you, and while gravity is taking shape, they have to somehow roll off of you. Trayvon Walker with a textbook, literally how they teach you to tackle the tackling dummy. Tackle on a quarterback. And they say he made contact with the quarterback's head. He didn't lower his head. He didn't target his head. He's 4 inches taller than the quarterback. His head was to the side of the quarterback's head. He brushed against the quarterback's face mask while tackling him like a tackling dummy. And that's roughing the passer? Come on. 33 plays to 9, 180 yards to 1. You're 6-3. You're the 6th seed. You're hosting the Chargers next week. And if you win it, you could pretty much, unless you fall all over yourself, get to the finish line and make the playoffs.
And now, when you look at what's ahead for the Jags, still right there. I mean, there are still winnable games on the schedule. But now 2 of them are on the road, at the Cardinals and at the Titans. You host the Jets. The rest of them are against teams that, quite frankly, are better than you. The Chargers are better than you. The Colts are better than you. The Broncos are better than you.
Man, you were
This
so
was your
close.
moment. This was it.
Think about what the Jags' resume would have been this morning, Mark. They would have gone to San Francisco and beat the Niners. They would have beat the Chiefs at home. They would have swept the Texans, the team that's dominated the division the last 2 years, and dominated them. That would have been their midseason resume. That would have been pretty damn impressive. A showdown game basically with house money next week against the Chargers if you had held on yesterday. I mean, it basically would have been with house money. Would have been awesome to have, but if you didn't have, that's okay. There's still at least 3 wins left on this schedule. You can still get to the finish line from here.
There were 3 games on the schedule in which we said, you've got to take care of this.
Yep.
One of those was the Jags against a backup quarterback. They blew it in the fourth quarter. Blew it. One was Carolina. They played New Orleans. They blew it.
Unbelievable.
The other one was the Bears. And the Bears, who don't come back in the fourth quarter, haven't done it in how many years, David? Did you say 13?
First double-digit comeback in the fourth quarter to win in 13 years.
They got it done, though. Caleb Williams got it done in the fourth quarter. Ugly, however you want to look at it. The Bears got it done. They survived in a game that they had to win. The Jags choked in a game they had to win. They choked like big, hairy dogs. Unbelievable. Right now, David, do the Jags make the playoffs?
No.
Hell no.
No. They're tied with the Chiefs, who they have the tiebreaker against, but seriously? I learned something yesterday. SOSAJ. I'd never heard of it before. Not to be confused with Lee County BST, Business, Sports, and Tourism. SOSAJ. Same old sorry-ass Jags.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Battleship made it into the Toy Hall of Fame? Did not see that. All right, Baxberg, and don't get me wrong, okay, I have no problem if they fire Dable at this point, and he did not look good at the presser yesterday at all. But, and I'm being very serious when I say this, how is the head coach responsible for their defensive fourth quarter meltdowns? They spent all this money on Dexter Lawrence, on Thibodeau, on Brian Burns, and they drafted Abdul Carter. Those guys against Dallas, Denver, and Chicago haven't done squat. Their secondary is the worst in the NFL, arguably. Their corners are the worst in the NFL. That's all on the GM. I just want to know how it's the head coach's job, not the defensive coordinators, but it's the head coach. And when you tell me that, well, Parcells had Belichick as his defensive coordinator. Who did Bill Cowher have for all those years with that great fourth record? He had Dom Capers and who? I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no problem at this point if you want to fire Dable. But I just want to know how the head coach is responsible for a fourth quarter defensive meltdown. 5 of the 6 highest paid guys on the team are defensive linemen and linebackers. None of them have made a play in 3 games down the stretch. And I just want to know how that's on Dable.
You got any ideas for a poll question? As much as I want to continue talking about Dable, because we could do that for a while.
Okay. Worst loss of the weekend?
The only problem is, who do you put it there with the Jags?
Bills. Do you blame the head coach when your football team blows a big fourth quarter lead? Yes, no, it's on the players.
I like it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Gary Danielson will join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. And Gary's appearance is going to have something to do with baked potatoes. Just letting you know right now, that's the tease for Gary Danielson joining us in a little more than 15 minutes' time.
Far more interested now in the Gary Danielson interview than I was when you texted me that he was going to be on the show.
That's why I teased what I teased.
Huh. Does he eat baked potatoes while driving in the left lane? We'll get to that coming up in a matter of minutes.
If people only knew how funny that was.
All right. We have a great poll question. I like this poll question a lot. Way to go, David. It's all his. Do you blame the head coach or the players when your team blows a big lead? As simple as that. Who do you blame? Giants fan? Jags fan? No, I mean, there's plenty of places to look at here.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's my question. And you know, if you listen to this show, forget the fact that I grew up rooting for the Giants. That has nothing to do with this. Okay, I've said it for years. The franchise owes me nothing as a fan. I don't care if they go 0-17 for the next 10 years. I really don't. They have given me so much joy. Okay, they owe me nothing. And I do like Dable as a coach. Okay, he made the playoffs and won a playoff game with one of the 5 worst rosters in the league as far as I was concerned. I think he can coach, but they're awful, and they have been for 2.5 years now, and he's probably going to lose his job. Okay. But Mark, help me out here. They have blown big fourth quarter leads against the Cowboys, the Broncos, and the Bears. The 5 of the 6 highest paid guys on the team are on the defensive line or linebacking core. How is this the head coach's fault that they lost?
Because, David, the head coach is there to set a tone of how teams play, of how they react in adverse situations. And I'm not on the sideline, so I don't know. But when coaches get nervous and when coaches start to do things that are maybe out of character, the players react a certain way. Coaches have to be the same. They cannot waver. And good teams have coaches who don't waver, whether it's good or whether it's bad. They're the same. And I believe that when things go badly, certain coaches have trouble reacting to it. Like, I think McDaniel's one of those guys. When it's going well, McDaniel's wonderful. When it starts going badly, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to react. He doesn't know how to rally the troops. So I do think it's the coach's fault because he's the one that sets the tone.
You think the head coach is more to blame than the players? You think Liam Cohen is more responsible than the Jags?
Oh, yeah, yes. Liam Cohen, 100%. 100%. Starting with calling the 2-point conversion that he didn't need to do. He gets players. No, the coach has to be able to, when things are going badly, calm people down. That's his job. Call a play. Talk to a coordinator. Figure something out. 3 plays for 1 yard on one drive, 3 plays for 6. Come on, you're supposed to be an offensive genius. Let's go.
All right, I'll tell you what. I have no problem then putting a little bit more blame on Liam Cohen because he does call the offensive plays. All right. In the Dallas, if we want to go Giants specifically, the Giants kept going up and down the field and scoring. Okay, and their defense couldn't make a stop. Hell, they took the go-ahead score with less than 30 seconds to go in the game. They couldn't keep the Cowboys out of field goal range off the kickoff. At what point is the $30 million defensive end, the $28 million defensive tackle, the number 1 pick of the draft, the 5th overall pick of the draft 4 years ago, at what point is one of them supposed to get the quarterback to the ground? That it's on them and not on the head coach. I mean, that's what I don't understand. I think we're too quick to let the players off the hook.
I don't disagree with that, but the coach is the one. If everything, look at these leagues are all, particularly on Sunday, we're talking about the best players. It has to be about this culture thing, David. If it's not about that, if it's not about how things are done Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, so when Sunday comes, you've prepared them for these situations, then it's on the coach.
So you think Liam Cohen and Brian Dable are more responsible for the Jags and Giants losing yesterday than the defensive coordinators and the defensive players?
I think they're as responsible.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, vote and repost then. Get this thing even.
We'll
have a great poll question today. I do want to talk about one other thing yesterday. I don't know how much of this you were able to listen to because I know you were traveling yesterday.
Uh-huh.
But boy, oh boy, Tampa. That didn't sound like a home game to me. I know there's been a lot of converts. You know, when you picked up this Brady guy, there were a lot of New Englanders in Florida that bought season tickets to watch their guy TB12 lead your team.
Right.
But see, you got Baker, and then you became the Bucks again. You're selling tickets, and you're good. And I watched that whole game. I didn't know who the home team was.
No, it sure sounded like I don't know, Florida Georgia game at the cocktail party. The crowd was 50-50.
Did not know that Patriots Bucks was a neutral site game.
I particularly enjoyed, I believe, wasn't there a Yankee suck chant that broke out during the game?
There was.
Uh-huh. I got to admit, I'm sorry, that's funny. That's funny. I'm sorry.
Man, for whatever reason, when I moved to Florida nearly 30 years ago, I adopted the Tampa teams, not the Miami teams. I like the Bucks. I like the Lightning a lot. I don't have the same feeling about the South Florida teams. I just don't. Dolphins don't do anything for me one way or another. I love this current roster for the Florida Panthers and love what they've done, but push came to shove, I like the Lightning more. Maybe it's because I worked for that organization in the early 90s. And I know there's no basketball, so the Heat are the only thing there, whatever. But, Tampa, you often take shots at the folks in Miami and their fair weather fans and how they don't show up and how it only matters if they win. Well, the last time I checked, Bucks, you guys were in first place. You guys are trying to win a division again. And apparently you're so confident in your Tampa Bay Bucks that you sold all your tickets to Patriot fans who filled Ray J and made it sound like a Pats home game. I'd be embarrassed, Tampa. I'd be embarrassed today. That was something I knew there'd be a lot of Patriot fans there.
Sure.
I know where we live. I'm not a dummy. There are a lot of New Englanders that have made Florida their home over the years. I play golf with them all the time. But to be drowned out, and that was a close game. It wasn't like it was a blowout.
No.
That was a good, exciting football game. And, did Baker have to go to a silent count in the fourth quarter because it was so loud? Unbelievable, Tampa fan. You got drowned out by Patriot fan yesterday. That was embarrassing.
Can we give Vrabel the Coach of the Year award right now, or do we have to hold out for Steichen in Indianapolis or possibly a few others?
I think we have to hold out because what Steichen's doing in Indianapolis, they very well could end up with the 1 seed.
Okay.
That was a big win yesterday.
It was. By the way, Daniel Jones is trying really hard to look like the Giants version of Daniel Jones these last 2 games. He had 3 interceptions against the Steelers and put the ball on the ground a couple times. He had the ball on the ground 3 times yesterday, threw 1 interception, had 2 others dropped. He's trying really hard to look like Daniel Jones instead of Indiana Jones.
But unlike what happened with the Giants when they took his best player and gave him away,
right?
He's not this Jonathan Taylor guy.
Right.
And I don't know about you, David, but he's pretty damn good. You know who else is pretty damn good? Gary Danielson. He's next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Takori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
at the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
EB, there's not 5 guys that I'd take before Vrabel as my head coach. There's 5, but there's not more than that in the league right now. Maybe 7. He can coach. By the way, every time a Lion gets hurt, Dan Campbell's running out there too. Oh, there. So yeah, you don't want Bowles. I know he sucks. He just keeps winning divisions for you. Because when you do that Bucks all cap, that means you're yelling about Bowles again.
This will be the 6th straight year they make the playoffs. 5th straight year they win the division.
If they make the playoffs.
What?
If they make the playoffs, they don't choke this away. They got helped yesterday because both the Falcons and Panthers lost.
Yeah, if they get moderately healthy, I think they'll hold on. But yeah, I guess.
I mean, they got at Bills, at Rams the next 2 weeks. Now, it gets pretty easy after that, but they could be 6-5 before you know it. You want to take Bowles away from what he does best. He is your DC. You don't like the way he coaches the defense.
Gave up 3 plays yesterday. Three plays that were for 196 yards.
They're 13th in points per game allowed. I don't know how much better you can have it.
Yes, the Kohler Lodge across the street from Lambeau. I built this thing about 8 years ago. It's very nice.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question today. So who do you blame more when your team has a fourth quarter collapse? The head coach or the players? That's our poll question. We had a couple of those yesterday. We seemingly have a couple of those every week. Gary Danielson, kind enough to join us again. He was in Iowa City over the weekend for the outstanding Oregon-Iowa tilt. And Mark, I said when we invite Gary on the American Paint Supplies hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs, that it would have something to do with a baked potato. Gary, you and I have been doing this for 20 years. You've probably eaten press box food 3 times in 20 years.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah, you raced out of the booth as I was walking into it Saturday for a baked potato?
All right, couple reasons. It was a little colder, chillier, and I got a scouting report earlier. George came in with one with chili on it, and I think Melissa did, our stage manager did, with chili, and I go, a hot baked potato with chili before this game sounds pretty damn good. So I did it. I don't eat prior.
Right.
So I said, let's give it a go. I've never seen a baked potato in the press box before, and it was good. I'll have to say that.
They were big baked potato, Mark, too. I mean, they were big baked potato. They were a meal onto themselves with chili, cheese, bacon bits. It was pretty damn good.
Does sound like a high school girls' dinner back in the 90s, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I can always do a baked potato. So anyway, cold weather, we have one, it's been a while that we do these cold weather games, and it was Big Ten weather, that's for sure.
It was Big Ten football, too, and Oregon had no problem playing that style. I mean, it was a really good game. Oregon wins on the last play. But tell me your thoughts about the Ducks. Dan Lanning's built a pretty good program there. They've been good at the line of scrimmage. They've got a pretty good quarterback. What are your thoughts about this Oregon team going forward?
Yeah, I have to say I am impressed with their competitive instincts, and they're willing to kind of follow the leadership that maybe Mario Cristobal should get a little credit. He started to rebuild the team in the more of the SEC mold. Oregon always had to beat you with speed, tempo, gadgets. They were more known for, Nike's uniforms and how they played under Chip Kelly. And I think as they entered the Big Ten, or they knew they were going to enter the Big Ten, they knew there'd be 2 or 3 games like this in cold weather that they had to be prepared to win it at the line of scrimmage. Remember when they beat Penn State? Penn State was almost unanimously thought about as one of the 2 or 3 favorites to win the national championship, or at least play for it, as they reloaded this year following the Ohio State and Michigan blueprint of a lot of guys not going to the NFL. And I think they kind of broke Penn State, and they were around the country kind of, ordained as the team to beat. Then when they lost IU, they just went off the radar. And I think since then, Dan Lanning has been putting into this football team that everybody thinks we're soft. And they could not have had a more perfect foe than to play Iowa in the weather to prove that they weren't soft. And I think they accomplished that.
Well, you mentioned Penn State, and you had a hunch. You had told me last week, you said, there are a lot of good players there, and they're going to give Indiana a very hard time. And sure enough, they did. But how about How about the final drive between the quarterback and those two final catches? Wow.
Yeah. And one drive in between by Mark Gronowski, who was also struggling all game. He went 93 yards with I think 3 big passes on that drive when he looked like Iowa quarterbacks of the last 10 years prior to that. So listen, I always respect the competitive instincts. I saw it up close, playing professional football, playing at Purdue when we didn't have great teams, of what guys would be willing to do to not let down their teammates on teams that were not playing for championships. I saw the great Charlie Sanders not practice basically for 8 weeks towards the end of the season and put a defibrillator back when it wasn't safe into his shoulder pads to stimulate his torn pectoral muscle, and still play every game for basically nothing, and not wanting to let his teammates down. So I know players get a lot of criticism for, transferring for money or only being interested in games that are national significance. And that's part of what happens with TV now. They only want games with teams who are playing for something. But players have a lot of pride and opportunity, and I think they want to put on tape that they will play for their teammates. Remember, most of these seasons start in the dawn 5 o'clock morning in January with mat drills and conditioning drills, and they put a lot of time in these games. So I figured Penn State would give them a good game. But yes, 2 great drives. First by Mendoza, very, very similar, let's be honest, to the game against Iowa, where he threw, both Oregon and Iowa, where he both had to lead them down the field, especially the Oregon game when he threw the pick 6. And he did it again against Penn State. That was pretty impressive. And then Dante Moore with his preseason top 3 wide receivers and his mismatched tight end out of the game. He's playing with 4 receivers he really didn't expect to, and he finished it off into the wind, into the rain, into the Hawkeye defense. I admire that type of play.
Gary, I'm just curious. You played quarterback at the highest level. When you see these receivers, Saturdays and Sundays, that are making what seem to be unbelievable catches, like I think we're becoming numb to how good the receivers are. Is there anything you attribute it to? Because the way the guys get the feet down, the way the guys are catching the ball with one hand, they're doing things that seem they're like gymnasts. And, I remember when I was a kid, Lynn Swann was the guy that made the acrobatic catches. Right. There weren't 40 of them. What do you attribute to the great athleticism at that position? Right
I just think the evolution of, all sports. Look what basketball does. Who used to go through their legs before, who used to do what they do in the NFL. I also, just a bit, and I'm not criticizing anybody, but the gloves make a big difference now, being able to control the ball. But from the time they're 10, 11, 12 years old, these guys are playing flag football or 7-on-7 football where it's all passing. They watch what happens, on Sundays with You Got Moss, and they're going up and making these catches. I think the back shoulder throw has become more in vogue. The taller receiver has become a desire of recruiting. Guys that might be playing basketball at 6'4" look out and say, if I'm not 6'10", I don't have a chance in the NBA unless I'm a sharpshooter, and they maybe gravitate those athletes to being receivers. All things combined. But you're right. They make some catches that are game changers, and the willingness of the quarterbacks and the offenses to put it up. 50-50 balls are no longer, as they're explained, the advantage is heavily now to the offense on those type of throws.
He's Gary Danielson. His final year, 36 years as a top college football analyst. This is his final year of doing it, his 20th at CBS. And he's kind enough to join us once again on the American Paint Supplies hotline here on Miller and Moulton. Hey, is college football maybe stumbling into something better? It was a foregone conclusion that we were going to 16. 12 might be better if you really look at it. 16 might be a little watered down. Are we better off since they can't agree and it doesn't look like they're going to agree in the next 3 weeks on a new format that it's going to stay at 12? Is 12 better than 16?
I don't think so, personally. I think what you could see happen here. I'm just going to draw out a scenario for you. Would it be more unimaginable that Michigan would upset Ohio State this year or last year's Michigan team that upset Ohio State?
I'll go last year. They didn't throw for 100 yards, although I'm not sure they'll throw for 150 this year, but I'll vote last year.
Really? Because on the road to that Ohio State team that was loaded the way they were, I think it could happen. I mean, I'm going to just throw out a scenario for you. If Michigan upsets Ohio State, they're going to play in the Big Ten championship because they'll have the tiebreaker.
Right.
And if USC upsets Oregon, you could have 5 Big Ten teams with 1, 0, or 2 losses. And here's, I guess, the long way of getting to this point. I think the ACC and the Big 12, I think Petitti has a better plan here. I really do. I think it should go 4-4, 2-2, 1-1. I think that gives more teams and their conferences more breathing room to be part of the story. And I think the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, both the first and the second round, should both be at home stadiums. I think what we showed here with that Iowa game, weather is so attractive to TV viewers, and the South has too much of an advantage. They only have to build their teams one way to play in warm weather. You've seen what's happened with USC, Oregon. They know they have to play in the cold, so they're building their teams differently now because they know they have to play at Michigan, at Iowa, at Wisconsin when they're real. So I think 16 would be better personally because not just for the Big Ten of the SEC, but for everyone else in college football.
You've seen Indiana a couple times now. When you look at what Cignetti's done, just how much of a shock is it to you? Because last year it was kind of a nice schedule. Things worked out. This year they can play defense. This year they can get at the line of scrimmage and play with you. What he's done in 2 years has to scare the hell out of every athletic director in the country. But just talk about what Indiana has done and where you think they are right now.
Yeah, I'm more shocked this year than last year. I've seen teams have those 1 year Northwestern where you just put the team together and they're all 4th and 5th year players and they just have that special team. But to do it back to back, and also the fact that the kind of the nucleus of their team is from James Madison, who, by the way, could make the playoffs. Would that not be something if the team that Cignetti rebuilt plays against the team that he's now coaching? That might be fun to watch. So I don't know, what the key is, but he has now made Indiana attractive for football players to look at. Decent weather, big alumni base, big NIL, playing in a visible conference. I mean, when he was hired, did anyone even recognize that? Not whether it was a good hire or a big hire, but was it what the hell hire when he first got done? And his teams play really good, solid football. But let's also be honest. They could have lost 3 games. And if you look at their schedule, it's not that much better than it was a year ago in whole. Okay. They're getting, yes, they beat a decent Penn State, but a Penn State team that was broken with a backup quarterback. So, I mean, their schedule as the teams they've played, look at how many games they won. And what are they, 2 or 3 wins combined between the Purdue's, the Wisconsins, and the teams they're playing? I'm not even sure exactly what it is. But they are legit. They are well coached, but they need to get healthy. They need Aiden Fisher, their middle linebacker, to be whole, and they need Elijah Surratt, their wide receiver.
Got about 60 seconds. Is this current system of college football, everything that's in part of it, is this working for you?
It kind of is. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's way better than 4. I'm going to just say it for the 50th time I've done one of these interviews and maybe on your show. I hated 4. If we were doing 4 right now, we would only be talking about 5, maybe 6 teams that could possibly win. I get it. It's not likely Michigan or Iowa or some of these teams are going to win the national championship, but there's a new measurement now. Before it was you're crap if you can't win the national championship. Think about what happened to IU last year. They were called a fraud because they couldn't beat Ohio State or Notre Dame on the road. That's not an easy chore. I think the new measurement now is, can you make the playoffs? And I think that's more fair to all of college football and the fan bases. So I don't mind it. I mean, it's a little crazy with the NIL, how who's getting the money, who's paying the money, how much some team does for the other. But all in all, I'm willing to change. And, the games have been good. We've got some good games. We get some stinkers like everybody else does. But all in all, the players are still playing competitive football games. That one Saturday was a very memorable game for me.
Gary, as always, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Safe travels, and hopefully we can do this again. Gary Danielson on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, Miller and Moulton. The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, yes, that's the one difference. And he said that. Okay. He said it's similar to That's the one difference, really. And it through no fault of Indiana and, quite frankly, no fault of Ohio State this year. Their Big Ten schedule has kind of fallen apart on them through no fault of their own. Wisconsin turned out to be lousy. When they faced Penn State was broken. They went and beat Washington in late September. Solid win. Get your W, get on the plane. But, there's not a whole lot that they've faced in the Big Ten that's going to expose a flaw if they have it. They didn't have to play Indiana. They didn't have to play USC. They didn't have to play Oregon. Just kind of worked that way. I know, Robes, we have a lot in common. So which one would you bet on more? Michigan beating Ohio State in the Big House or Auburn beating Alabama on the Plains? And some weird things have happened in both rivalries lately. Bama has escaped, though, the last two Iron Bowls at Auburn. Overtime in 21 and Bond with that catch on 4th and 31, I think it was, for the touchdown.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this Overreaction Monday, at least in Jacksonville, where it's in the 40s. Tampa, St. Pete, where it's in the low 60s. And Southwest Florida, where it's in the mid-70s. By the way, it's 22 here across the street of Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Monday Night Football tonight, Eagles and Packers, a virtual toss-up. Green Bay, a 1.5-point favorite at home. Little added juice to this matchup. Green Bay was the team that officially petitioned the NFL to eliminate the tush-push. Trust me, it's a thing with the Eagles. Our poll question's a thing. Who do you blame more when your team has a fourth quarter collapse? The head coach or the players? I blame the players. I think Mark's leaning head coach.
Oh, no, I'm not leaning head coach. I voted head coach because I think that the players react from the head coach's reactions. And when head coaches panic, players panic. And some head coaches are unbelievable winning or losing. They stay focused. They stay right there in the moment. Other coaches have trouble doing that.
Nearly a 50-50 vote right now. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton, and vote. By the way, this snapshot in time, which will not change, Mark, based on the results of tonight's game for obvious reasons. If the draft were held today, the Titans with the first overall pick, but, Mark, the Saints won yesterday. The Jets won yesterday. The Dolphins won yesterday. Amazingly, New Orleans still has the second overall pick. They're tied with the Giants. They're both 2-8, and the Saints beat them. So I'm a little confused as to why the Saints have the second overall pick. Apparently, head-to-head doesn't matter. It's a strength of schedule formula.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. Cleveland can select another quarterback fourth. The Jets are fifth, Vegas sixth, Miami currently seventh.
But it's worth noting, Saints and Giants both tied at 2-8, so it could go either way. Browns, Jets, Raiders, all 2-7. But man, that Dolphins win. That moves them up to seventh right now. And now you got people counting, well, they still have this team. Oh, they still have this team. They could get to 6, maybe 7 wins. No!
So I have to ask you, David, because our mutual friend who is a Bills fan is a better friend of yours than mine. He texted you while venting.
Right.
I simply texted the Bills fan in my life mid-second, somewhere like that. I just said, have you broken the remote yet? That's all I asked. I'm like, have you broken the remote yet? I think this was right after the Bills coughed it up again on the fumble with the nice defensive play from behind, knocking the ball out. That was a really good play by the Miami defensive player there. But that was like the third turnover already for the Bills.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just simply asked, have you broken a remote yet? And I just got a, That was the text back. UGH. That's all he said. And I thought it'd be best to leave him alone the rest of the day.
I always get concerned about teams that play down to their opponents, that don't put forth consistent effort. Like, forget the fact that the Patriots have won 7 in a row. That obviously is terrific. But have the Patriots thrown a C performance out there during this 7-game winning streak?
Not really.
No, the Patriots seem to be finding a consistent level of performance. The Eagles have had seasons under Sirianni where they've been very inconsistent. They've played down to their opponents. They don't have a lot of that anymore. Green Bay right now, this is a maddening season. Last year, they just lost to the better teams. 0-2 against Philly, 0-2 against Detroit, 0-2 against Minnesota. Those were 6 of their 7 losses during the course of the season, including the playoffs. This year, they've lost at home to Carolina. They've lost at Cleveland. All right. They totally were inept defensively in a game at Dallas. I mean, what the heck? Do you know what type of team the Packers are? The Bills are good enough to have some of the performances that they've had this year, and then you beat the Chiefs one week, and you get humiliated by the Dolphins the next? What the heck?
By
I'm
a
supposed to
team
believe in
and a
you?
fan base that really doesn't care anymore. There was nobody there yesterday. There were all kinds of empty seats. We talked about the Patriots takeover at Ray J. It would have been a Bills takeover at Hard Rock if the Bills would have shown up. Their fans did.
Subplot to the Bills-Dolphins game, did you hear the reports yesterday, specifics? Certain teams weren't able to make deals at the deadline, and we always wondered, well, what did they offer up? And, the Eagles being given credit for quickly being willing to give up a 3rd-round pick for a rental in Jalen Phillips. How come more teams weren't willing to give up Well, it's being widely reported, Mark, that the Bills offered the Dolphins a 1 and a 3 for Waddle.
And the Dolphins didn't take it?
And the Dolphins said no. One would think it's because it was Buffalo. That if someone else offered a 1 and a 3, based on the reports leading up to the deadline when the Dolphins said, we need a 1 and something more and not just a throw in, that would have gotten the wide receiver away from the Dolphins. The Bills ponied up and the Dolphins said no.
How much of this, do you wonder if Stephen Ross said you can make whatever deal you want, but you can't make it with the Bills or the Patriots or the Jets for that matter? But you know what I'm getting at, because David, come on. That whole Hard Knocks of the Giants moving Saquon to the Eagles and us seeing it in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Mara there sitting there going, they better not win a Super Bowl, basically.
Yeah, basically, I'm not going to sleep very well if he ends up in Philadelphia.
And where did he end up? Philadelphia. What did they do? They won a Super Bowl. So you just wonder, owners are similar in nature.
Apparently, the Dolphins wanted the first-round pick in 26. And the Bills were offering a third-round pick in 26 and a first-round pick in 27. And the Dolphins were saying, flip it, and we have a deal. Now, if that's the case, if I'm Buffalo, I got to flip it. I mean, do you want them or not? The other team holds the hand here. Seriously?
Because if you get him, where is that 1? You're thinking that 1's pick 29 at worst, or at best for the Dolphins, if you know what I mean.
Right. So anyway, that kind of came out yesterday. The one thing I will say, Buffalo's receiving core is not good enough. That Coleman kid, he's not good enough.
No.
They can't get – that's a bad Dolphins secondary, and they struggle to get separation. All right? It's Josh Allen, James Cook, and a bunch of guys. It really is. And I don't know – and particularly now that it looks like they're not going to have home field for maybe any playoff games, yeah, I don't see it happening. How many road playoff games have the Bills won here during the Sean, what's his name there? McDermott and Josh Allen playoff era here? How many road playoff games have they won? Yeah, it'd be 0.
And Waddle tortures them deep for one of the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Best ball Tua's thrown in 3 months.
How about Achan? Nearly $180 on the ground.
Achan nearly $180. Gibbs had like similar numbers, and Taylor had 250 or whatever the hell it was. There were some big boy rushing performances yesterday.
Yes, there were.
Dan Campbell said, I'm calling the plays. We're going to run the ball. We're going to get back to who we are.
Right.
So, and the team no one talks about because of where they're located. Seattle was up 35-0 yesterday.
Before the 2-minute warning of the second quarter.
Right. I think it was 28-0 by the end of the first, wasn't it?
Yeah.
21. They scored early in the second.
Now, it was a little crazy. I think they had 2 defensive scores. All what broke loose. But, yeah, Mark, the Rams and the Seahawks right now are slapping people around. They're like Indiana until they met Penn State this past Saturday when Indiana was beating teams by 40. Yeah, the Seahawks and the Rams right now got it going on.
And I've said, and I will continue to say, the road of the NFC will continue to go through Philadelphia until proven otherwise. But Seattle and the LA Rams have put their hands up and saying, are you sure? Because both are really, Seattle their defensive line is excellent. They maul teams, David. And the Rams don't see, where's the Rams' flaw?
Keeping guys healthy. That's it. Can they keep Puka healthy? Can they keep Stafford healthy? Right now, who's playing quarterback better than Matthew Stafford?
I don't think there is anyone in the league. And I'm not just saying in the NFC, in the league.
Right. I mean, what's he, 20-something TDs, 2 interceptions? Last 3 games, 13 TDs, no interceptions. This is not the Big 12. I mean, he and they are lighting people up. If it wasn't for that second half collapse at Philadelphia, they would be the talk of the league right
That's
now.
the last time he threw an interception, by the way.
It's the last time they lost also. Yeah.
And this Puka Nacua guy, he's pretty good.
Yeah, well, he came back yesterday, and that seemed to help. Yeah.
So Miller and Moulton. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Javier, I don't think ADs determine what guys make. I think head coaches are given a budget and they work, and they basically are the general managers. They're responsible for getting the players and what they pay them. And
Javier, I'm as confused as you, because what was it, like you pointed out in the email you sent me, the one receiver who asked to be redshirted, and they said, sure, you don't have to play. And if he transfers somewhere else, what did you pay the kid for this year? I don't get it. You know, it's interesting. The one thing that Gary said in his interview is guys are trying to put up stuff on tape. I get that. That's Sundays. On Saturdays, are they?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on this Overreaction Monday, although in the case of the Jags, we've come to the conclusion you cannot overreact today. It is not possible. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I don't think I've ever seen that look in your face before in nearly 20 years of doing this. That when I bring up the Jags from yesterday, your face, for someone that you are not emotionally attached to, is one of anger and disbelief, is what I see in your face every time I have brought them up during the show today.
Well, I will say this, David. The network executives at CBS are extremely happy with what the Jags did yesterday, because it ensures that the Chiefs are going to make the postseason. I mean, we just got done living in a world where Seattle was playing Toronto in the American League Championship Series, and then Toronto represented Major League Baseball in the World Series.
Right.
And we're about ready to have Seattle perhaps be a 1 seed in the NFC.
Correct.
That's bad news for TV executives. Good news for football fans. They're really good.
The funny thing is Seattle and Indianapolis play in mid-December, and they could be the 2 1 seeds.
I watched the morning game, and I watched the Colts come from behind and win. And I was happy for the Colts fans out there. I mean, what a nice win. You didn't play great. Your running back was unbelievable.
He's really good.
And Atlanta just, David, you said something a long time ago. There's a certain number of plays you get to defensively at around the 55-60 play mark. Defenses don't have a lot left.
Yeah, to me, it's 50. Once a defense gets to 50 plays, it's like boxing. You've taken the body shots, and the legs are not there for the championship rounds.
So the Colts just ran it down Atlanta's throat. in the overtime period and scored a touchdown when they didn't need one. And as Jacksonville is dominating Houston, they didn't have the ability in the fourth quarter they didn't need to run it down their throats, David. They just needed to run it past their kneecaps and get a first down. I mean, literally 2 first downs, and they probably win that football game.
Mark, I think they win it with a first down in the fourth quarter, and I'm not kidding. I think a first down, because in theory, that's 90 seconds to 2 more minutes off the clock. And remember, Houston's final drive, they had to go 93 yards, but they had 5.5 minutes with which to do it. I really believe if Jacksonville had mustered up a stinking first down.
I couldn't believe it. I had gotten to the point where I felt I didn't have to pay attention to that game anymore, and I could really hone in on the fourth quarter of Tampa Bay and New England because it was a good game. And I keep looking over at the other TV going, uh-oh. They're not going to blow this. What is it? S-O-S-A-J?
Same old sorry ass Jags. Yes.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah. Apparently, that's the thing. Has been for a while. All right. I saw Dan Hicken, Action Sports Jacks, last night refer to S-O-S-A-J and then say it out loud on the air. By the way, that's the station. That's the official home for the Jags. They do weekly shows. They do like 2 shows a week with the Jags. You can't be any more in bed than Dan Hick and Brent Martineau are covering the Jags in Jacksonville. And he lit them on fire yesterday.
But they all, I mean, it's a one-town team. They're all in bed with the Jags. And I know this one more than so others, but it doesn't matter what local news you watch. It doesn't matter whether you're listening to our show or another show in Jacksonville. There is no way to spin this in any other way than a complete and utter disaster. This is going to cause you to miss the playoffs. It was there. You make the playoffs this year. What a wonderful first year for Liam Cohen and company. Maybe we've saved Trevor. Maybe things are going the right way. But then you blow a 29-10 lead in the fourth quarter.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's right. Yep. Total yards in the fourth quarter were 180 to 1. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I don't know how you do it.
My favorite part of his rant, Davis Mills is 6-19-1 as a starting quarterback, and 3 of the 6 are against the Jags. And he just walks off screen. I'm not laughing at Jags fans here. I'm not. I feel awful for you. Awful for you.
Right, because a lot of you Jags fans are Gator fans. It's or Knoll fans. Goodness gracious, how was your weekend? Yep. Keep the sharp objects away from everyone.
Uh-huh. They would have been 6-3. They would have been
with wins against the Chiefs, 2 against Houston. And I know San Francisco, but that one doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
But and then a home game with the Chargers that you feel completely differently if you would have just beaten Houston. Now you have to beat the Chargers. Have to. And who knows? I watched Miami get completely destroyed by Baltimore and then turn around and beat Buffalo. I get this is a week-to-week league. But you worry as to what a game like that can do for the psyche of that team.
Well, and also think about what has now transpired for the AFC. Mark, it wasn't that long ago that you were looking at an AFC with potentially both Baltimore and Kansas City not making the playoffs. And now, what do you have coming fast and hard on the outside in the AFC North? Oh, yeah, that would be the Ravens. And the Steelers have let them back in. Boy, have they ever. And what did the Jags have an opportunity to do? Really keep the pressure on Kansas City. I mean, don't the Chiefs have the Broncos in Denver Sunday? I mean, think about it. The pressure's on the Chiefs right now. What is it? Broncos, Colts, Thanksgiving week at Dallas? Short week on the road? I mean, it's a tough stretch for Kansas City, and they'd be up against it if you had held on to a 29-10 lead, because they'd be a game behind both you and the Chargers in the loss column, and they had lost to both.
Yeah, the Chiefs still have a schedule in front of them. It's not going to be easy, but we believe in the coach. We believe in the quarterback. And with the Jags, love Liam Cohn, love the post-game stuff we were seeing. I mean, everything from the early Duval on that was awful. From that point, it's all been positive up until yesterday. He's the one calling the plays. 2 3-and-outs when a first down might have been enough to win the game. 2 first downs for sure was enough. It was over. And he and they blew it, which leads to our poll question. Do you blame the head coach or the players when your team blows a big lead? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton to vote on X.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will, Adam. Like, I don't care. I mean, you know my reasons for wanting the Broncos to lose every game, but it doesn't make a difference of how I talk about them. I don't know who they are either. I don't. They've won. You have to give them credit for that. They're winning. But geez, oh Pete, they barely beat the Giants. They barely beat the Jets. They barely beat the Raiders. I get it. It's the NFL. A win's a win. But I don't know how good they are. They've been great in the fourth quarter. That's impressive. But now we find out. Now their schedule gets a bit tougher. Not a whole lot. Even if they lose both games to the Chiefs, they should have 4 more wins on their schedule. What I just said, Michael, but thank you for repeating what I just said. I mean, they're going to beat the Commanders. They're going to beat the Raiders. They're going to beat the Jags, and they should beat the Chargers at home. So that's 12.
Yeah.
That's if they lose both to the Chiefs and lose to the Packers. That's 12. That's going to win the division.
Yeah, split with the Chiefs, you'll win the division.
Get swept by the Chiefs, you're going to win the division. I mean, unless you lose to the Packers and the Chiefs run the table, that's the only way you don't win the division.
Whew. That was a lot of travel.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Still 22 degrees here in Green Bay. Just so you know.
Thank you.
Cold weather's coming. I mean, if you're in Jacksonville, you know it's in the 40s this morning. Going to be in the low 30s tomorrow morning. Southwest Florida, Tampa, St. Pete, get ready. It's coming. By overnight tonight, it's coming.
I have issued a sock and shoe warning for Southwest Florida for tomorrow. I'm letting you know 24 hours ahead of time. You will need socks and shoes tomorrow. Both. I'm telling you. You might even need to wear pants. I got to find my old Atlanta Night tracksuit bottoms that I've had for 20 plus years. They are the most comfortable sweatpants I've ever had. I'll probably wear those to the show tomorrow. Those are nice and warm.
I was going to say this Miller and Moulton weather update brought to you by khakis, because tomorrow you're going to have to wear pants.
So I had to do something this weekend. It happened, David, because I stream my television on YouTube TV, and they suck, just like ESPN sucks. You both suck equally, okay?
Yeah.
So I, through my phone service, have had the ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, Hulu bundle, and I pay $15 for it. I don't watch Disney Plus ever, although right after I dropped it on Saturday, I found out that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stuff is no longer on HBO. It's on Disney Plus. Whatever. Wouldn't mind seeing the Killers do War on Zevon's Lawyers, Guns, and Money, or whatever, which was apparently pretty cool. A lot of stuff from the Rock Hall of Fame stuff looked amazing, like Chris Cornell's daughter singing Black Hole Sun. I mean, there were some pretty cool things there. But anyhow, so I dropped that because I added the ESPN Unlimited package for $30 a month on Saturday morning, because I wanted to watch college football. And in order to watch college football in my home where I stream, and I know some of you have Xfinity and still have all of your stuff. I get it. But cable's really expensive. And if you have as many televisions as I do, cable gets really expensive because they hit you hard for each one of the different devices you need to work your televisions. That's where they get you. Another $10, $15 a pop, and all of a sudden you're spending $350 on cable. So I went to streaming, mainly because of Sunday Ticket. And I've been happy with YouTube TV. I have. I wish I had the NHL Network, but whatever. ESPN Plus comes in for most of the hockey that I need. I miss a game or two, I'll get over it. But I tried successfully to drop my ESPN Plus, Hulu, Disney Plus bundle. Then I had to open up a whole new account with ESPN under a different email address because it wouldn't let me do it any other way. In fact, I even had to get on the phone and call ESPN's customer service, in which a very nice gentleman, they did as good of phone customer service as I've ever had. And he finally said, anything else I can do? I said, yeah, can you go upstairs and yell at somebody about this YouTube TV dispute? Could you do that for me?
He said, why? We're getting new customers every phone call.
So I had to break down and get yet another streaming service. Let me just tell you, my old guy moment of the day.
Here we go.
I just want cable again. I just want whatever it is where I can have the ability to switch from one game to another without having to basically write a letter to Congress asking for permission to go from one service to another.
Can I have my 2008 back?
That's all I want.
Yep. Right there
with
you.
The previous channel.
Yep.
And you know where it goes, David? To the previous channel.
Right.
Now,
right game.
If I want to leave an SEC game and go to perhaps a Big Ten game,
well,
I've got to exit. I've got to get to YouTube TV. I got to put my name in again. Son of a bitch. Are you kidding me?
Uh-oh. We're swearing and everything.
I've had it.
Uh-oh.
Look it. I really have enjoyed Saturday. Saturdays have brought me back this year. I've said it for a while. I became a Sunday guy. And Sunday's glorious. It is. It's the best players. it is the best product. But it ain't Saturday. Saturdays are special. Saturday in Iowa City was pretty damn cool. It was.
It was.
Really was. And you know what? Saturday, for a while in some other spots, was pretty good. But I couldn't figure out how to get from one to another without having to write a letter. Because now you need some sort of cable/streaming service to get some channels, another streaming service to get other channels, and don't give me this crap to go to Fubo or Hulu Live or whatever the case may be, because if you want to watch the NFL on Sunday, you need YouTube TV, because that's where the Sunday ticket is. That was easy, even though YouTube TV and your guide sucks to high heaven. It's awful. It really is. When the 425 games start and you can't find them on the guide because, well, you just aren't there yet, you're like 30 minutes behind for whatever reason, that's your fault too.
You okay?
No, I'm not. No, actually, I'm not okay, David. I'm bothered by this. And yeah, I could have got a free 14-day trial. And then you got to remember to go back and shut it off after 14 days so they don't start charging you for something else. It's a big pain in the ass. Everything else has gotten easier. We've tried to make life easy. Yeah, I don't mind going through the self-checkout line in Publix. I'd prefer to go to a human being, but I'll go to the self-checkout. I'll do it. I'll scan my own crap. I've gotten so good at it at Aldi, I can get in and out of there in a heartbeat. But you know what I want to do? I want to hit the damn previous channel button, and I want the game that was on before to come out. I don't want to have to log out, log back in, and then find the damn game. Could you guys figure this out? And yeah, I got your nice email this morning, YouTube, that you're giving me a $20 credit because you a-holes can't work it out with ESPN to get this back on the air. Enough is enough. I would have probably ranted last week, but I was lucky enough to go to the cocktail party and see a game in person. So I didn't have to worry about all of this crap. But I had to worry about it on Saturday, and it sucks. Okay?
Is this where I'm supposed to say something polite, like I'm not laughing at you? I'm laughing with you.
At me.
No, I am laughing at you.
You can laugh at me all you want, because you
I
know
am.
what? You're gone all day Saturday and you're gone all day Sunday. And if I stuck you in front of my television with remotes, you couldn't even get the damn television on.
Darn right. Darn right. You know me, though. You at least have multiple TVs. Okay. I mean, I'd be like, I'm going to put this game on this TV, this game on this TV, this game on this TV, and I'm never going to change the channel.
There's no one. My daughter is the only one in my house that has an idea how to run anything. My wife is, when I was gone last weekend, they couldn't figure out how to get a game on.
I literally was going to ask coming out of the last break, so how did it go this week with the whole ESPN YouTube TV dispute? Well, it's good to see it's going swimmingly.
Not to mention, when you stream games, you're 45 seconds behind. Because I had to run the daughter. She had a sleepover on Saturday. So I ran the daughter to meet there's three of them, and we all met somewhere. I don't know why we didn't take them to the house, but neither here nor there. So I met the daughter's friend in a parking lot. And as I'm driving back, I'm listening to the end of the Indiana-Penn State game. And I made it into the house before the big play that I just heard on radio. Parked the car, got out of the car, walked in, and the play hadn't happened yet on television. That's how far behind they are with streaming.
Okay, but you're not watching or listening both at the same time. I mean, you're not, betting on, first pitch strikes, with a Cleveland Guardian on the mound. I mean, but yes, those of us that have satellite or cable or streaming, and it is interesting if you're on the phone with somebody and they're reacting to something and you're both watching the same game and you know something is about to happen, you're just hoping they don't tell you what and ruin it. They've kind of ruined it, but they haven't fully ruined it.
I've quit texting my son live during games because I know I'm ahead of him. And the other thing that they do is, for whatever reason, YouTube TV is running extra commercials, delaying it even further over the course of the game. Son of a! I've had it, man. I spend a lot of money to watch games. To not even go to them. We all spend a boatload of money just to watch these games.
Yes,
we get
do.
13, 14 weeks of Saturdays.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
And this is what we get. This is how much they care about us. We've told you on this show forever, they don't give a damn about you. They don't.
Nope, they're just like the politicians.
And by the way, Big Ten, you know what you're doing right now? Apparently, you're sucking in all that money from private capital. Good luck with that. Good. You know why? Because you're getting $134 million up front, and apparently you need $134 million to bail out your athletic departments. Hey, here's an idea, guys. How about not signing contracts with coaches where you have to buy them out for $50 million?
Anything else?
Not at this moment, but if something comes up, I'll be sure to let you know.
You sure? Anything about the Wings? They lost 2 games over the weekend at home, 9-2. Anything you care to discuss?
No. I you know what? Connor Bedard looks like the real deal. That's all I will say there. This kid, and he's not big, and you hope to goodness he doesn't get hit hard and hurt. But man, oh man, he is a tremendous young player.
All right, 10 seconds on the NHL. Between Bedard in Chicago, the kid in San Jose, and the kid on the Islanders, let me tell you, it looks like there's going to be a next great generation of hockey players. Okay, just saying. You know, we had McKinnon and McDavid, who were after Crosby and Ovechkin, and every 8 to 10 years, it looks as if, okay, knock on wood, this little run stays healthy. But man, these kids look exceptional.
Yeah, Bedard, Celebrini, and as it Snyder, right in the aisle.
Yeah,
and give the kid the aisle credit. Got interviewed on TNT. Lundqvist asked him the first question, and in a great answer, he said, "I'm a little offended that a Ranger got to ask me the first question. Knows exactly who he plays for."
Yep.
Exactly who. That's almost as good as when John Cooper decided to interview the TNT guys.
Right.
And ask Ace there if he gave himself his nickname. No. That was gold.
John Cooper, I've been answering your guys' questions for 15 years. I'm going to turn it around.
and then he doesn't even give him the answer. Unbelievable.
But do you feel better? That was a lot. That was a lot of heavy lifting there.
No, I think I have a headache now, David. I'm not sure.
So you ended up not canceling anything. You just ended up purchasing more?
I canceled the ESPN Plus package that I had. It saved me $15. I paid $30, so I spent more money.
Right. So, okay. So you didn't make a choice between ESPN or, you kept everything, so to speak, and so they got you to spend more money in this dispute. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wow.
They come off my hip for more money. And then I guess lastly, having a wonderful time out. I'll finish with this. Having a wonderful time out with my bride on Saturday night at a great venue, music playing, TVs everywhere. And these 4 idiots who root for the school where I went, they've got these signs on all the tables. Please see hostess for seating. They try to sit in a table without the hostess seating them. They get kicked out by the waitress. Then they stand directly in front of me to watch the end of the Michigan State-Arkansas game. I looked at my wife. I said, I hope Arkansas wins just to piss these people off. That's what it's come to. That's what it's come to. How about follow a damn rule, old guy? All right? Take care of your bartenders and waitresses. No, just sit at their table and order water from the bar. For crying out loud, what is the world coming to?
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Seth, the reason I did the $30 more than anything is I want to keep the ESPN Plus. I need it for the hockey. I mean, at the end of the day, I was spending $15. I'm now spending $30. I saved $5. If you take the $20 credit from YouTube, I was spending $15 on Plus. I'm now spending $30.
You made $5.
Yeah, I mean
You made $5, but you lost Disney Plus.
And they've got and I had no idea the Rock Hall stuff moved to Disney Plus, David. YouTube still gives me the Sunday ticket. And then all of my, your FS1s and all of that stuff.
Javier, you keep doing that, and you're going to have Gordon Lightfoot in my head.
YouTube TV is like $80 a month. Mine's a little over 100 because I did add HBO. But Sunday Ticket is $425 or $495. They split it into 4 payments. But the way I was reading it, if I tried to cancel YouTube TV, which I was thinking about, I was canceling Sunday Ticket. And I didn't feel like getting on the phone with another. If I have to talk to another, don't even get me started. The Canadian Troubadour, your father went to high school with him? Is he Canadian? Isn't Gordon Lightfoot? Gordon Lightfoot's Canadian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And very easy to play on the guitar, Javier. One of about the 11 that I used to be able to play. I've kind of given up on guitar because I could never figure out how to play bar chords, and it just was too frustrating.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Thanks so much for being with us on this Overreaction Monday, although that seems impossible if you live in Jacksonville. It seems impossible if you're a Gators or Knowles fan. It does. Your disgust cannot be overstated, I believe, today. It could even be understated, but not overstated. We have your back. If someone gives you a hard time for your bad mood, tell them Miller and Moulton have my back. Reach out to them, text them, they'll explain it to you.
I had to laugh. I've been corresponding with, and it's one-sided, and I feel badly because my responses to him are mostly on air. But a listener of the show who's in the chat room and is a devout, big-time Gator fan. He sent me a text yesterday. And he went major league with his analysis of the Gators. Do you remember the movie Major League, in which they start turning the corner? And they're going through the different parts of Cleveland, and these guys, they're not so bad.
Right.
And they go to the guys that are taking care of the field who don't speak English. And you just get subtitles. And it says they're still crappy, although they don't use crappy. That was the title of his email describing the Florida Gators. We're still E. And yes, they are. And you said it very early in the show. The whole reason Napier, to a lot of people, got another year was because if you were going to lose Napier, you're going to lose DJ Lagway.
Right.
There's not a Gator fan in the world that cares if they lose DJ Lagway now. Not
No.
one.
No, they're driving him to the airport. If the portal is a rest area on a highway, they're driving him there. Wherever the portal is, a Gators fan will find it for DJ Lagway and will be more than happy to drive him to it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the backup quarterback, and this guy had been advocating for the backup to play for since the South Florida game, really and truly. Because he's like, hey, he was good against Long Island. I know it was Long Island going way back to first game of the year. But why isn't he playing? Why isn't he getting a shot? DJ is not doing it. This guy may have been on to something long before anyone else. Because DJ Lagway is now costing them football games. You could argue he cost them the Georgia game. He throws that ball to the wide open receiver 10 yards short instead of 30. That's a catch. Hell, it might have been a touchdown, and it may have put the game away. So, whoever your coach is, look forward to the new quarterback that you're bringing in. And
remember when Florida beat Kentucky 31 times in a row? Do you remember when Florida went 33-1 against Kentucky in a 34-year span? That went from the Reagan administration to, well, the very end of Trump's first term. You remember that?
I do, David. I do. Death, taxes, and beating Kentucky. Those were things the Florida Gators knew were going to happen.
Right. So, Mark, I don't think Gator fans should be moaning the fact that they're 0-5 in their last 5 against Georgia. I think they should be moaning the fact they're 1-4 against Kentucky over the same 5-year period of time. Mm-hmm. And in the 4 losses, they have scored 13, 16, 14, and 7 points. Yes.
Once again, we've said it for a long time on this show. We really have. Yeah, the Gator wants to compete. The Gator fan wants to compete for natties. The Gator fan wants to get to Atlanta or get to the playoff or whatever, maybe on the high end of what they look to achieve as a football team. But what's really important to the Gators, and particularly their fan base, is that it looks a certain way.
Yep.
And it hasn't looked close to that in a long time.
Now, had flashes under Mullen. Trask, okay, and Pitts and Dan, they had it going on a little bit in 2020. They did at times in 2019, but they had it going on in 2020. Beat Georgia, took Alabama to the wire in the SEC title game. That was fun. Uh-huh. Right. Dan was gone less than a year later. Yeah. Even when Muschamp had the 12-1 season. Yeah.
But that didn't look the right way. And
Nope.
that did not look the way Gator fan wants it to look. And there's not a Gator fan. Yeah, sure, they'd love to go 12-1. They don't want it to look that way.
No, they didn't. They didn't like it. They didn't like the team. And not only that, the one was against Georgia. So you know what? I still have reason not to like this team and this coach. All right. McElwain went to Atlanta. First 2 years as head coach. He was doing it with Will's players. They weren't that good. Now, they might have been something special, but they had the only player who apparently was taking performance-enhancing drugs during the entire decade of college football in the 20-teens. It's a 10-year-old.
But right now,
rant.
it's fantastic. But right now, when you look at just the SEC standings, it's one thing if the Gators were just looking up at the Dogs or Alabama.
Right.
But they're looking up at everyone. In fact, the only teams that they're ahead of in the standings right now in the conference are Kentucky, and that's because Kentucky's lost one more game in conference than you have. And once you lose one more, you'll be looking up at Kentucky as well. You're only ahead of Mississippi State, Auburn, South Carolina, and Arkansas. Oh, boy. You've got to win out to go to a bowl game.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State, gang. This is the worst Gator team I can remember, David. We've been doing this a while. When has there been a worse Gator team than this?
Oh, boy. I thought, well, Muschamp's last team kind of mailed it in. No, this could be it. This could be it. Do we have to go back to, was it Charlie Pell? Do we have to go back to the late 70s? Didn't they have like a winless season back in 79?
That's literally what the person who emailed me says. It's hard to see a scenario where this doesn't go down as the worst season in Gators history since an 0-10-1 team in 1979.
I love it. We can go back to the Carter administration.
We had to go back to the Carter administration earlier because yesterday was the first time a sitting president has been to an NFL game since President Carter attended an NFL game, because President Trump was at the Lions-Commanders game yesterday. Which, by the way, yeah, he did get his airtime, but don't you think he was a little pissed that, because that was supposed to be the A team, but they switched it when Washington had the injuries and fell apart, moved the A team to Niners-Rams. I can just see President Trump going, really? I got to deal with these two yahoos?
Yeah, Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma. It's true. It was going to be his buddy Brady.
Right. That's and the whole time he was on, that what was in my head. I'm going, President Trump's looking at this going, really? B team Kenny Albert? Are you kidding me? I don't even know who you are.
I just love the fact that he holds the stick mic, that he won't put a headset on his hair. I just love that.
And you know, David, you've been lucky enough to be in the booth with, at time, President-elect Trump and with President Obama. And President Obama put the headsets on, right?
Well, right. That's when Katie nearly got shot by the Secret Service because she manhandled him fixing the headset. And I saved her from being shot. And I said to the Secret Service guy afterwards, okay, has anybody touched President Obama like that? And he said, besides Michelle, no.
Told that story to my wife yesterday because I'm watching it. My mom and my daughter and my wife are sitting there, and I'm looking at Trump with the stick mic, and I'm going, you have to understand, he's not putting the headset on.
No, he's just not doing it.
Not happening.
He's not doing
it. You know
it.
why he's not? Because he's the president of the United States.
That's
and
right.
if the president of the United States wants a stick mic, do you know what you give him? You give him a stick mic.
Yep.
That's not political, gang. I don't give a damn what side of the aisle you're on. President wants a stick mic. President gets a stick mic.
Yep. Republican or Democrat.
Yeah.
Right.
And he did like 8 minutes in the booth yesterday. He did play-by-play and color. It was fantastic.
Yeah. We got lucky when we had President-elect Trump. It was an Army-Navy game, and we had a long stretch. And so Vernon Gary, you just go with it. It's the President-elect. It's the Commander-in-Chief. You're at the Army-Navy game. I mean, he's got a pretty good audience, pretty favorable audience. Can't go wrong. I mean, hell, I was at a Monday Night Football game. We did a quarter and a half with Jason Kelsey. I mean, when can you call it a day with the president?
And I did laugh because there was 2 times that I thought that they should have gone to commercial just because of the timeout and the way things worked out. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Phil, guys. I hope you've done your research, Kenny, because it just changed.
Well, this just in. Presidents don't sit through commercial breaks.
Nope.
Okay. So if you want them, you stay live. There are certain audiences you can keep through the break. There is no tease effective enough to keep the Commander-in-Chief through a break.
Got that right.
Yep.
But back to the Gators. Now what? Because you've got players who say they want to be redshirted and didn't play in the game so they can keep their year of eligibility so they can leave you and go somewhere else. The one thing, and David, you and I have been for NIL. We've admitted that we are. But without a salary cap in college with their ability to transfer at will anywhere. At least the NFL knows what their cap is, what they have going into next year. When a player can just get up and leave for $30,000 or $50,000 more somewhere else, it does put these schools in a bind. And when you're bad, it puts you in an even bigger bind.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real. The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
One of these times, David's going to change a flight and give everybody listening his credit card number. You know, I just said one of these days, David, you're going to be doing that because I pull you back up on screen. You don't turn your mic off, and I'm just waiting for you to give everybody in the Twitch chat room your credit card number.
No, I wouldn't do that. But so we got these breakfast voucher certificates, and I don't know where the restaurant is, if it's downstairs or upstairs, and you know, what time is it open till, that sort of deal. So apparently it's the restaurant upstairs, and it's good like 8 to 11. Huh. I'll be damned.
Well, you're an hour back, so you got plenty of time then. You're done at 9.
Right. Yeah.
$90-minute wait for a table on Saturday night, David. 90 minutes.
Ooh. Are they back? Or
they're back.
I thought they were pissed at us. I thought they weren't coming.
They're all here. The Canadians probably weren't. But I will say it's the first time I've been to that Sugar Shack, that Bonita music venue. That's a great spot. Great band. Great band. Love a bass player that's got it up high, ripping it too. I played some fun songs. They were good.
Oh, Javier. Am I familiar?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day one. Some final thoughts, a pick or two. It's all coming up in a little more than 15 minutes here on Miller and Moulton. Still 22, by the way, Mark, here in Green Bay. Hasn't moved in 4 hours. Has not warmed up an iota. Nothing.
You know, me of all, I don't feel sour. I hope it gets colder. I hope it's 14 at kick. I hope it's snowing sideways.
Lambeau is awesome. If you've never been, try to at some point. It is pretty unique to NFL stadiums. The press area, they have built up Lambeau so much that you're like 7 stories up. So when they open the booth, it's cold and it's windy in the booth. And now that I actually know this Buck Aikman duo a little bit, I start thinking back to that NFC Championship game they did with the Giants and the Packers and what Coughlin's face looked like. That was field level. It's a lot colder 7 stories up. And they open up those windows because they keep that booth. It's so funny. They keep it warm. It is toasty. Man, is this nice in here. You're like taking layers off. Okay, you've got like 1 layer of a long sleeve shirt on, and that's it. And even then, you're rolling up the sleeves. It's warm. And they give you like a 5-minute warning, and they go, just so you know, we're going to open up the windows here coming up in 5 minutes. And I mean, you dress for the Arctic. And
all right.
Sure enough, I'm sorry, you're standing there like the Michelin Man, and they open up those windows, and that heat is gone in 36 seconds or less.
I'm losing my touch on David's Rome pauses there. You got any nuggets for tonight's game? Because this is a big one. I mean, this is a Monster game, both teams, and not so much for the Eagles and winning the division. I think we all believe the Eagles have that taken care of. But the 1 seed's on the line for a bunch of teams, for Philadelphia, for the 2 teams in the West, in Seattle and the Rams, for the Packers and the Lions, and hell, even the Bears now. They've got a tough stretch. We'll see what goes on with Chicago after a really nice comeback win yesterday. But for the division leaders, this is a game, and because of that tie with Green Bay, they're in the driver's seat for the 1, particularly if they get tonight. When you were getting ready for this game, give me a nugget or 2 that you think is the pressure point, as one Gary Danielson likes to say, in this football game tonight.
Well, I think the 2 quarterbacks are the key. And that's like, that's the case in a lot of games. Yeah, it is. But for this reason. So the first time the Packers had to defend Hurts ran for 170 yards against them. Now, he was a little more runner than thrower the first time Hurts faced the Packers, but he absolutely destroyed them. They played twice last year with a different defensive coordinator than what they had in 2022. The Packers held Hurts to under 40 yards rushing in both games. So they did a really good job. However, this year's Packers team is not nearly as good defending the run as they were last year. The other thing, Mark, is that Hurts's numbers in the pocket keep getting better. You know, the whole thing, you got to keep him in the pocket. He can't beat you from the pocket. Yeah, actually with Hurts, that's a misnomer. Do you know where Hurts's numbers are going down? When you force him from the pocket. Remember early in his career, he would run to his right, but even to his left. But when he escaped the pocket to his throwing arm side, he was just big play after big play. Yeah, that's not happening nearly as much anymore. I could bore you with the numbers, but the stats are telling. Meanwhile, Mark, he's completing 72% of his passes from the pocket with 1 interception.
15 touchdowns, 1 interception for Hurts. Love has 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The irony right now is at this point in the season, Josh Jacobs has more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley does. The other little thing that I saw in reading on this game, David, is for Green Bay, if it comes down to a kick, well, that'll be interesting because their kicking game has not been good compared to others in the league. They've missed a few kicks. So
Hurts against the blitz has been terrific this year. Top 5 in the league against the blitz. Here's another thing. If you go man against Hurts and the Eagles receivers, they light you up over the last 2 years. 28 TDs, 3 interceptions. All right. Meanwhile, you go zone, very middle of the pack, just 5 TDs against the same 3 interceptions. So based on the numbers, you want to zone them, yet at the same time, you want to get them out of the pocket. My question is, Mark, can the Packers' run defense show up tonight? Don't you think the Eagles are going to give Green Bay's run defense, which has not been good, a heavy dose of Barkley and Hurts?
I would. Make them stop you. They have not been good. You know, they sent the guy to Dallas in the Micah trade, and they've not been good in the middle defending the run. So we will see. It's a big game in the Miller and Moulton world. David and I differed on 7 NFL games, just straight up picks. I won 3 of those games. David won 3 of those games. I've got the Packers. David's got the Eagles.
Clear night, not overly windy. That's what they're saying now, not overly windy. Temperatures at kickoff 30 to 32 degrees. Will go down slightly throughout the night. It'll get to around 25 to 27 by the end of the game. So nothing crazy for two teams in the upper Midwest and the Northeast. They should be able to handle it.
To me, it's about third downs because the Packers are the best team in the league converting third downs. The Eagles are 30th. Defensively, the Eagles on third down are 27th. The Packers are 7th. All signs point to that being a huge advantage for the Green Bay Packers. Will it be? I think third down, that's the key down tonight in looking through the numbers from where I see it, David. Can the Eagles stop Green Bay on third down, and can the Eagles convert on third down? They haven't been very good at it. It's interesting when you look at the Eagles, David, their yards per game, they're in the 20s in the league. Rushing and passing, both in the 20s. But in points, they're 10th. So despite having some offensive woes, if you will, statistically, they still put points on the board every week.
So the Packers started this weekend first. If they lose tonight, aren't they in third in the division? Wouldn't they fall to 5-3-1 behind the 6-3 Lions and the 6-3 Bears?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. Philly with a win tonight is actually the 1 seed in the NFC. By conference record, they move ahead of Seattle. Green Bay, at this moment in time, is the 3 seed. Big game tonight. Big game. A lot on both quarterbacks. Good, bad, and ugly next.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want.
Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our diamond event, November 21st through 23rd.
This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Takori.
This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping.
More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Did you see the big fella, the high school football player that they couldn't tackle?
Yes.
Michael, I have no play. I do not bet player props, so I am the wrong guy to ask about player props. All I know is I would take whoever the tight end is in an over bet when they play the Jags. By the way, Kansas City, a 3.5-point favorite at Denver next week. That's what Vegas thinks about the Broncos right now. Oh, no, Javier, I meant when the Jags play, not tonight's game. I don't know if they will.
I doubt it, Javier, because he's the only tight end that he had Rodgers was the one that had the relationship with the guy a couple of years ago. This is the first tight end that's really excelled under Love. And you're not going to believe it. Christian Watson's hurt again. Can you believe that?
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. We out of here. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. This, the Diamond District bonus hour in the 239, the 904, and in Tampa. Say, Pete, thanks for being with us.
All right. That seemed like a good enough cue for me.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
This is where the whole doing the show on the internet stinks for me. Because back when we were just doing radio, old terrestrial radio, and going way back when Colin was producing the show.
Oh, wow.
Colin would always know us. I'd have a song for him for this segment that was significant to the day in history, and he would play it underneath. Today, there'd be a song. There might even be two. All right. Happy birthday, Marine Corps. That's where we start. 1775, the Continental Congress passes a resolution stating that 2 battalions of Marines be raised. It is now observed as the birth date of the United States Marine Corps.
250.
Semper Fi, all you great, great men and women that served in the Corps or are serving in the Corps. 1934, the first NHL penalty shot is awarded to Canadiens forward Armand Mondu. He was stopped by goaltender George Hainsworth in the Leafs 2-1 win. 1938, on her radio show, Kate Smith sings God Bless America for the first time, introducing it to the country. Irving Berlin wrote the song for a 1918 musical he wrote, but decided not to use it. Walt Disney, today in 1940, began serving as an informer to the LA office of the FBI to report on information on Hollywood subversives. 1945, a big 1 versus 2 matchup in college football. It would be a blowout. Army would shut out Notre Dame 48-0. Today in 63, Gordie Howe surpasses Maurice Richard as the all-time leading goal scorer with number 545 in a 3-0 win over the Canadiens. Sesame Street premiered today in 1969. Today in 1975, the Edmund Fitzgerald sinks in Lake Superior, killing all crew members on board. Worst single accident in Lake Superior history. That would have been one of the songs we would have played. We'd had a little Gordon Lightfoot going, David. But we could have played this song because today in 79, Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang becomes the first rap song to hit the Billboard Hot 100, entering the chart at number 84. 1983, in a unanimous points decision at Caesar's Palace, Marvin Hagler beats Duran in 15. 84, the Canes were up 31-0 in the third quarter. They would lose 42-40 to Maryland.
Frank Reich, the quarterback for Maryland, to lead the biggest comeback in college football history. Frank Reich, then 8 years later, the quarterback for the Bills when they came back from 35-3 in the third quarter to beat the Houston Oilers.
Today in 1985, Pelle Lindbergh crashed his Porsche into a wall after a team party. He would die. 1986, the reason many people ended up buying a CD player. Columbia Records releases Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band live 1975 through 85. A 5 LP, I believe a 3-disc set, if I remember right, of concert recordings. Today in 89, the Germans began demolishing the Berlin Wall. Today in 1990, Home Alone premieres. 2002, the top box office film is 8 Mile, starring Eminem. The number one song in the land, Lose Yourself by Eminem. First performer since Prince in 84 with the song and a movie simultaneously at number 1. 2014 Uptown Funk released by Bruno Mars. He would have started with the Gordon Lightfoot. We would have moved into the Uptown Funk, David. Martin Luther, big in the Protestant Reformation, David. Richard Burton, Tiger first baseman Norm Cash, and Big Pun all would have celebrated birthdays today. Jerry DiNardo is 73. Jack Clark is 70. Linda Cohn, 66. Kenny Rogers, who threw a perfect game in 94, he's 61. Tracy Morgan is 57. Isaac Bruce, 53. Miranda Lambert, 42. Kendrick Perkins, 41. Zach Ernst is 35. Teddy Bridgewater, 33. John Rahm is 31. And Scottie Pippen Jr. is 25 years old today. What did I miss, David?
I'm a little surprised that you left this one out. I got to be honest. 1903, Mary Anderson. That's right, Mary Anderson, a Birmingham, Alabama woman, patented the windshield wiper, a window cleaning device for electric cars and other vehicles to remove snow, ice, or sleet from the window. It's a biggie.
You know, sure. Windshield wipers don't even work with a damn now. How well do you think Mary's worked?
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
Probably better than some of those on your cars. By the way, one final thing about the Berlin Wall 36 years ago today. Do you remember the news? Okay, Brokaw is on the wall. They are chopping pieces of it and breaking it while he's doing the NBC nightly news. He's on top of the wall, and there are guys next to him with hammers and chisels breaking the damn thing apart. Damnedest thing I think I had, ever seen at that point on television, because it was like we were like a year or so away from the war on CNN. Okay. I think we're like, 3 months away from the war on CNN. So in 3 months, we literally saw them, okay, with hammers and chisels breaking the Berlin Wall. And then Peter Arnett, all right, 3 months later, and we've got live pictures of the war going on in the Persian Gulf. It was an amazing time in television.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
By the way, quickly, today was the day when, brought to you by the Fort Myers Tip-Off. Go to fortmyerstipoff.com. For the good, we go to Boston, where a dog ended up in the Ted Williams Tunnel on Thursday morning. Cars whizzing by. Police were able to basically get in a staggered formation with 6 state vehicles, with a trooper begging the dog to come, which runs away from the officer but hopped in the back seat of a cruiser. Good job by the police officers there in Boston. For the bad, we go to Sanibel Island, where Joshua Mulnix was arrested after he stole a construction worker's car, tried to run the construction worker over with the car that he stole from him, and then tried to run from police. They found him in a porta potty. He ran a gate with the car, did some other damage, causing about $4,000 in damage. Residents on Sanibel were surprised of the crime, but Connor Easton, a resident, said, a lot of people in Florida carry. I suggest you hide. Next time you do some stupid like that, you're going to get shot dead. Finally, the ugly, we go to Fort Pierce, Florida, where officers were called to the Goodwill store after a store clerk found a suspicious object in the donation bin. The suspicious object was a grenade. Don't know what you can claim on the receipt for what the grenade was worth, but probably the wrong place to take it. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, Monday, November the 10th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Hiring new officers, great pay, great benefits. For all of the information, where should they go, David?
CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
There you have it. There you have it. Monday Night Football tonight. We kind of gave you a pretty good preview last segment. Packers and Eagles. Big night for Miller and Moulton. David up 2 on the season and straight up picks. I'm trying to close the gap to 1. I picked the Packers. He picked the Eagles. I should be doing better this week. I had Atlanta and I had Jacksonville. Both of those teams had fourth quarter leads late and blew them.
Hockey tonight. 4 games. The Florida team in action is the Panthers in Vegas against the Golden Knights. But an interesting game at Madison Square Garden, because the Rangers are winless at home, and we're over a month into the season. They're 0-6-1 at home. Better than that, in 5 of the 7 home games, they've been shut out. The Rangers hosting the struggling Nashville Predators tonight. Something has to give. Either Nashville wins, which they haven't been doing a lot of, or the Rangers actually score some goals at home, which they've been doing none of. NBA, bunch of games tonight. Both the Magic and Heat in action. Magic hosting Portland. Magic need a win. They're 4-6. Lost last night at home to Boston. Good one in Miami, by the way. Best matchup of the night. Cavs and Heat, 2 winning teams. I think it's the only matchup of winning teams tonight in the NBA.
Well, you've also got, I would say an equally good matchup with the Spurs and the Bulls.
Yeah, that's true. Bulls off to a good start. Yeah. It's funny. There's one game tonight being featured, the new NBA TV deal. A lot of NBA fans getting used to what network, what nights, and what have you. Well, Peacock has a game tonight. The team with the best record in the East, the Pistons, hosting the team with the worst record in the East, the Wizards. 1-9 at 8-2 at 7 tonight on Peacock.
Packers are 1.5-point favorites tonight against Philadelphia at home. The over-under 46.5.
Seems high to me. That's just me.
I mean, what are they saying? 24-23 is your final, basically?
Yeah, give or take half a point. That's what they're saying, 24-23. But, we'll see. Not much going on in college hoop tonight. Only 3 ranked teams. Miami is home at 7 o'clock on the ACC network against Stetson. I'm trying to think if any other regional teams are in action tonight. I don't think they are.
UConn playing, they're ranked. Probably the best game tonight is Iowa State hosting Mississippi State.
Oh.
ESPNU for coverage. Iowa State ranked. They're a 4.5-point favorite at home.
Little Big 12 SEC action. Nice to see.
So that's a little rundown of what's going on tonight, but we finished the NFL week up with a good one. Packers and Eagles. If you have YouTube TV, you better find another way to watch it because we're still fighting.
Home teams, not counting the game in Berlin. By the way, nice of the NFL to finally have a good international game, huh? First ever game in Berlin, and it was terrific. Went overtime. Home team 7-5. Underdogs, if you took the points in all the NFL games this week, you're 7-6. So not much of an advantage either way.
Tomorrow, Pat Kerwin on the show to go over everything that's happened in the National Football League. So we'll check in with Pat tomorrow. We'll do this all over again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700.
That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
When you're craving the real taste of Chicago, there's only one name to know. Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.